Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast with Lucas Jaguar. Approved used Jaguar I-Pace now available with up to £3,800 deposit contribution, plus a complimentary smart home charger, 2 years approved used warranty and more, worth £1,500. It's game day, and this is the home of Scottish football. It's Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Good afternoon and welcome to Clyde One Super Scoreboard. On the day the Premiership title could be won, Celtic's domestic dominance means it's been when, not if, for quite some time. But Hearts at Tynecastle is the potential final hurdle, and Rangers may not have much to play for between now and the end of the season. Could they be looking to the future against Aberdeen at Ibrox? I'm Gordon Duncan, and joining me this afternoon, Gordon Dalziel, Mark Wilson and Hugh Keevins.
It does not get any more exciting, intriguing or compelling than this. Can Celtic become champions for the second time in a row on a ground where Ange Postecoglou had his first ever league game as Celtic manager and lost? Can Rangers break a sequence of 2 defeats in a row against Aberdeen and Celtic and placate a Rangers support growing more and more restless? What happens at Tynecastle will affect the mood at Ibrox and vice versa. It's a day when you wish you could be 2 places at one time, and you can be by staying with us on Super Scoreboard. The only guarantee we can offer you: this is going to be a roller coaster of emotions.
Yeah, huge day for Celtic. The majority of the hard work has been done over the course of the season, but still 90 minutes to get the job done. Ange Postecoglou will be looking for another big performance from his team, and his team selection reflects what he will see as a very, very tough game, and a Hearts team who scored 6 last time out against Ross County. Terrific day in store for us.
Doesn't get any better. Great weekend. Looking forward to this afternoon. Good football ahead. Plenty of sunshine out there. Let's enjoy it.
Interesting scheduling for you today. Remember, Celtic's trip to Hearts kicks off in 10 minutes time, 2:15, and then Rangers against Aberdeen at 3 o'clock. That just confuses things ever so slightly. Let's go to the capital then and get the team news with Andrew McLean.
Yeah, what a huge day it could be here at Tynecastle. We all know what's at stake. A win for Celtic. They wrap up their second successive league title under Ange Postecoglou, and a second part of a potential treble this season. It's a team that's continued to evolve, continue to show signs of progress and improvement, and looks set to continue winning trophies and that domination that they've shown over the last couple of seasons. We know the trophy will be theirs regardless. It's now about how they wrap it up. I'll take you for the team news now for Hearts. One change for them for that big win over Ross County last time out. Out goes Nathaniel Atkinson, and it's James Hill that comes in for him in a straight swap at right back. So Xander Clark continues in goal. The back four: James Hill, Toby Sibbick, Kai Rolls and Alex Cochrane. Cammy Devlin and Peter Haring are the 2 holding midfielders. Yutaro Oda and Barry Mackay out wide. Lawrence Shankland playing in that sort of free role that he's played a lot this season in behind Josh Ginnelly. The substitutes: Stuart Atkinson, Forrest, Grant, Halliday, Humphreys, Kingsley, Keogh and Tate. As for Celtic, 2 changes for them as well, and we all know it's because of injuries. Alistair Johnson and Cameron Carter-Vickers out. In come Anthony Ralston and Yuki Kobayashi. So in goal for them, Joe Hart making his 100th appearance for the club today. The back four: Anthony Ralston, Carl Starfelt, Yuki Kobayashi and Greg Taylor. The midfield 3: Callum McGregor, Rio Hitati and Matt O'Reilly, and it's Dyson Maeda and Jota supporting Kyogo up front. The substitutes: Bain, Lawal, Bernabe, Iwata, Turnbull, Moy, Haksabanovic, Abada and The referee here at Tynecastle for this one is Nick Walsh, and the VAR at Clydesdale House is Willie Collum.
Hugh Keevins, I think Ange Postecoglou has a fairly one-track mind with just trying to win every game, move on to the next one, win that. How keen will he be to get this title wrapped up at the first opportunity?
I think you take one look at the bench and the starting 11 and you realise that Ange Postecoglou has no room for any thought other than get this done today and go to Ibrox next weekend as champions. This is a fantastic setting at Tynecastle. Traditionally one of the great fixtures within our league football, and Ange Postecoglou has bittersweet memories of that ground, because there on the 31st of July 2021 he played against Hearts, lost the game, and since then Celtic have only lost 3 times in the league. The consistency is staggering over a 2-season period. Ange Postecoglou has immortality in his nostrils. He can smell it and he wants it today.
I mean, Mark Wilson, the history books don't tend to worry too much about when you wrap it up, or if you wrap it up at the first time of asking, you get over the line. That's the real accolade. However, such has been the nature of this dominance from Celtic this season. So good week in, week out. The league table tells you that. 2 draws and 1 defeat. There'll be that personal, professional pride thing, won't there, where they'll just want to get it done today.
Yeah, of course. And some of those performances over the course of this season have been astonishing sometimes, and particularly away from home. So Ange Postecoglou will want to finish that in a high, and at the first time of asking, which is today, of course. And Hugh's right in mentioning this ground at Tynecastle. It's played such a significant part of Ange Postecoglou's history at Celtic, where he loses his first game, but then after that he's had great victories here. And we need to remember the great spectacle we witnessed when VAR came in earlier on in the season, where it finished 4-3. Same referee today. I wonder if it'll be the same outcome. So there's been so many great games in Ange Postecoglou's tenure Celtic manager here. It'll be fitting if he clinches his second title here.
I mean, Gordon, generally, you know, when teams get to this stage, you maybe start asking questions, or, you know, do nerves start to kick in? There's a bit of trepidation when you try and get over the line. It just feels like none of that stuff really applies to this Celtic team.
No, because they play with such confidence, Gordon. You know, the ability they've got in the team, the ability they've got in the bench, the ability and the belief in their manager as well. I heard Mark saying yesterday, and he's been there before, you know, best place to win the league home. After that Ibrox, after that Tynecastle. Perfect day today. I'm sure Ange Postecoglou will be looking just to put the nail in the coffin and get this title done today.
Let's hear from both managers, Stephen Naismith, then Ange Postecoglou.
Well, we need to be disciplined. We need to have full control of when we've got the ball, when we've not got the ball. I think Celtic are a team who are very aggressive with the way they play, and they try and win the ball back quickly. And that intensity is there, so we need to be ready for that.
It's a great atmosphere, and it's a great venue, and you know it's always a good game. You know, it's always there's always a little bit of it feels like it's a big game, and yeah, I think from our perspective it's a good place, because as I said, for us to get the outcome we want, we're going to have to earn it. You know, Hearts have still got plenty to play for this year. They've got a new manager, Steve.
The scene is set. Celtic are about to try and wrap up the title at Tynecastle, and kick-off is next. And now just a quick note from our podcast sponsor Lookers, the new name for Taggarts across Glasgow and the West. We are proud to announce that Lookers is now the new name for Taggarts. Taggarts has been part of the Lookers Motor Group for nearly 20 years, and over time, being part of one of the largest multi-franchise dealer groups in the UK and Ireland, has helped Taggarts to provide a great customer experience, value and choice to their customers across Scotland, and that's something that will never change. And now they've decided, though, to change the name above the door to move forward as one. You'll find the same great service and friendly faces you've come to know at their Jaguar, Land Rover and Volvo showrooms, working hard to give the best experience every time. You can now browse and shop online for your next car at lookers.co.uk and choose from thousands of used cars in stock with home delivery available. You can also discover the latest new car offers, book a test drive and book your next service online. Although the name has changed above the door, everything else is staying exactly the same, and you can still expect the same great service and friendly faces when you visit in store. Lookers, the new name for Taggarts across Glasgow and the West.
When it comes to helping those that really need it, actions speak louder than words. So here's what we've been doing at British Gas. Over the past year, we've given £50 million in energy debt support, including grants to help with bills. And we're keeping homes powered with emergency energy credit. That's enough talking. Let's get on with the doing. British Gas. Eligibility criteria apply.
Action as it happens, and your reaction from 5 on the open line. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Just minutes away from kick-off at Tynecastle. Let's go back and speak to Andrew McLean.
Yeah, just waiting for the teams to come out. I think we might be slightly delayed when it comes to kick-off here, because it's meant to be a quarter past kick-off, but the players not out the tunnel yet. Looking at the away end at the moment, I think Celtic fans would have loved to have this game being at home this weekend, with the team having a chance to clinch the title in front of 60,000, around 1,200 away fans in for this one. But if it is to be an away ground, maybe it is a fitting one to clinch it, given Ange Postecoglou's history here that you guys touched on, because they have shown all sides of themselves here. You look back to that first visit really early on last season, a 2-1 defeat. Fans not quite sure at that point how things were going to develop under their new manager. That 4-3 game earlier on this season, which was, full of VAR madness as well. But it was one of those games that we've seen a few times under Ange Postecoglou's side, where they just show that resilience and persistence to get the results they want. And then a 3-0 Scottish Cup quarter-final win here back in March was one of those games where they just turned it on, the ease to victory, with that quick flowing football that we're so used to seeing from Postecoglou's team at times. There is a potential awkward scenario here today, that if Celtic drop points, they'll need to wait 45 minutes to see Rangers' result to know if they've sealed the league title this weekend or not. But that won't be on the minds of these players. They'll be desperate to get the job done by themselves. I'll give you a recap of the two starting 11s as the teams line up at the moment. It's Zander Clark in goal for Hearts. The back four: James Hill, Toby Sibbick, Kai Rolls and Alex Cochrane. The two holding midfielders: Cammy Devlin and Peter Haring, with Yotaro Oda and Barry Mackay out wide. Lawrence Shanklin with a bit of a free roll in behind Josh Ginnelly. For Celtic, Joe Hart in goal, 100 Celtic appearances for him now. Anthony Ralston and Yuki Kobayashi coming into the back four after the injuries to Alistair Johnson and Cameron Carter-Vickers. They're alongside Carl Starfelt and Greg Taylor. Captain Callum McGregor in the midfield three alongside Rayo Hatati and Matt O'Reilly. It's a front three of Dyson Maeda, Jota and Kyogo. The referee for this one is Nick Walsh, and the VAR is Willie Collum. We're also, maybe guilty of looking over the fact that it is a big game for Hearts as well. An impressive win for them last time out in Stephen Naismith's second game in charge. 6-1 win over Ross County, where they looked especially good in that first half. It was obviously a real poor run of results before that cost Robbie Nielsen his job. It's now a big ask though to catch Aberdeen in third, but they'll be keen to show signs of progress, and Stephen Naismith of course will be desperate to show that he's got what it takes to get this job on a permanent basis. Lawrence Shanklin and Callum McGregor just shaking hands in the middle of the pitch at the moment, and with referee Nick Walsh as they flip the coin to see who is going to be on what side and who's going to start with the ball. The Celtic players now will enter into a huddle, and it really does seem like a tight-knit group, this Celtic group. We've seen over the last couple of seasons that so many players have come and gone. There's been a huge overhaul of the squad from Ange Postecoglou, the team that played Hearts at Tynecastle here on the opening league game for them last season. It's wildly different to that team, the team that you look at the moment, but the players they've brought in, nearly every single one of them has made a huge impact to this Celtic side. They've already got 3 trophies under Ange Postecoglou. They will seal this league title, whether it's today, whether it's at Ibrox next week or further down the line. It's going to happen. And then of course a huge Scottish Cup final at the end of the season, where they'll be looking to secure a potential treble, and that will be a sign of further progress for this Celtic team, that they're going in the right direction and in an upwards trajectory under Ange Postecoglou. The fans cannot love the manager any more than they already do. As Hugh said, he's already in the Hearts. He's already pretty much confirmed legend status at Celtic after a couple of seasons because of the trophies they've won, the brand of football and that connection he's got with the supporters, and it could go up another level today if they're able to clinch the league title. Yotaro Oda standing over the ball, and we are just about to get underway at Tynecastle.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard. Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements. Buy now, pay nothing till 2024.
And just like that, we are underway after a long old season. It's been one track mind for Celtic. They've always looked like they were going to go on and win this thing, Hugh. They've led from the front from very early, and today could be the day. Will it be the day for you?
I think it will be the day. Ordinarily, if you were playing a team 44 points behind you in the league table, you would assume that it would definitely be the day. But this is Hearts, this is Tynecastle, the opponents are Celtic, and that means it's different. The 44 point gap will mean nothing, but I think Celtic have the quality.
Yeah, I agree with you. I fancy Celtic strongly today. I know they've makeshift back four, obviously 2 very important players, Carter Vickers and Johnson, missing, but they've just got so much quality in front of that back four, middle of the park. the front three capable of scoring goals, the pitch looking brilliant. Great afternoon for football. What's at stake? I think Celtic will really grasp this. I think they'll score a few goals this afternoon.
Will they get it done, Mark, over the line today? Trophy aloft?
Can't disagree with anything that the guys have said there. And you know, it's been a ground that's been kind in recent games to Celtic. They seem to find a way and seem to enjoy and thrive in this atmosphere. I think they'll, same as Daz, I think 3-0 Celtic today. I'm going to go for
Hearts attacking at the moment. Top scorer Lawrence Shankland. It's not often you get a hat-trick against Celtic and lose the game, but that was the reality for him earlier on this season. He'll be looking to get back amongst the goals. I'm sure he would settle for one scrappy effort if it led to a more positive outcome.
You look at the expressions on the faces of the Hearts supporters. I mean, the atmosphere in there must be spine-tingling. You know, as I say, one of the great fixtures within Scottish football. Hearts do not want Celtic celebrating a title win on their ground, and the players must be aware as Hearts go close.
Joe Hart tips one over the bar. Hearts go very close in the opening stages, and it's a header from Lawrence Shankland. Maybe did he not tip it over the bar? Was it offside?
He did, yeah.
There must be something doing, because Joe Hart's scrambling to go and get the ball back. So
good start from Hearts.
It must have been offside, or in fact Joe Hart didn't touch it.
It's all about the rivalry, Gordon. You know, this is, I mean, we've watched it over the years. Hearts against Celtic. This is one of the great fixtures, and they are determined that they will cut the gap between themselves and Aberdeen, because they will believe that Rangers will beat Aberdeen, so they're out for the 3 points.
And Aberdeen will expect Celtic to beat Hearts, and that's the type of the end of season race that you've got on, Gordon Dale. You're looking everywhere. It's not just about your own business. I mean, for Celtic it is today. Pretty simple equation: win the game, win the title.
Yeah, I think Andrew was right. We're most concentrating on Celtic win the title. They got to do it today. Will they do it in style? But you forget that Hearts and Aberdeen are obviously, you know, playing for third. Very important to both clubs. So they've got a lot to play for as well. Hearts are at home. It's a great opportunity to stop the title party, but they'll have to play at their best.
I did wonder about nervousness from Hearts when the game kicked off. The ball got rolled to Barry Mackay and he sliced it straight out the pitch, but they have settled since and look like they're up for this. Kobayashi, remember, he's in the team in the absence of Cameron Carter-Vickers. He's been praised a lot for the way, you know, he uses the ball. Certainly that seems to be his main attribute, but he's miscued on this occasion, passes it out the pitch, and Hearts do have a throw-in on the far side.
I like the look of Kobayashi. I mean, this is only his 5th appearance. He's already played here for 45 minutes, and he looked quite assured that day. He was good at Kilmarnock. He's come up against a physical threat in his debut against St Mirren with Curtis Main. Very composed on the ball, so a fitting replacement, I think, for the way Celtic want to play for Carter-Vickers.
Good start this from Hearts though, or is it? As the ball goes back to Xander Clark, luckily for his, and Kobayashi with a ropey header setting Hearts on their way here. This is a brilliant end-to-end start to this game. The hosts look bang up for it, Mark.
Certainly do. Kobayashi there, just singing his praises, but a couple of times, one out the pitch, then a tentative header down there, but Hearts are really at it. I mean, it started with that long throw in the first couple of minutes, and they've not let up since.
They've come out on the front foot, Hearts, really throwing everything at Celtic just now. But
flag up again.
Yeah, but it's a good start. I think Stephen Naismith will be delighted with the start from the home side. Kobayashi, he'll get tested this afternoon. There's no doubt about that, because Hearts have got decent players in the forward areas.
The assistant referee on the dugout side has had some tight calls that he's had to commit to so far, and of course when the ball doesn't end up in the back of the net, then you don't get a look at them with VAR anyway. But he's had some interesting ones so far, that's for sure.
I thought he's got two wrong. I thought Greg Taylor was playing Ginnelly on there on the far side, and then for the Shankland header, I think Shankland was onside. I actually think Shankland should do better with a header that Hart tips over, but was given offside.
Well, referees and the officials involved in everything, because Greg Taylor just tried to thread a through ball and it was brilliantly cut out by Nick Walsh. Great anticipation, just marking the space in front of the back four.
Yeah, just stopping the ball.
He'll be hoping for an easier afternoon than the one
that was
back in the 4-3 game.
You remember right at the start, the first game with VAR for him and for these sides, and remember he blew the whistle before the ball ended up in the back of the net, and it meant that VAR couldn't really go back and check it, and it was quite something. Celtic put a free kick into the box. It's a poor one, and it goes to Xander Clark. Okay, let's pause for breath. Hearts 0, Celtic 0, 6 minutes gone. We have a strange schedule today because in 35 minutes time Rangers will kick off against Aberdeen. Now of course there is a scenario where Celtic don't win this game but still win the title if Rangers slip up in that match at Ibrox, but let's cross that bridge if and when we come to it. All week long there's been a real fascination on this phone in with Rangers fans. What do you do now between now and the end of the season? You know, the season's over. What do you do? Who do you play? Who do you leave out? So many questions have been posed, and let's try and get some answers to those questions with Gabriel.
Thanks, Gordon. Yeah, the challenge for Michael Beale and his players over these next 5 games is to show that the team are improving and have the potential to wrestle back the league title next season. We spoke to Michael Beale on Friday. He's asked his side to bounce back from losing 3 of their last 4 matches, and he promised he would try a few things out today, and his team selection certainly looks like a clear nod to next campaign. He has made 5 changes in total to the team that lost 1-0 in last weekend's Scottish Cup Old Firm semi-final. Robbie McCrory, Ridvan Yilmaz, Rabbi Matondo, Yanis Hadji and Fashion Sakala all come into the starting 11. Alfredo Morelos drops to the bench, whilst McGregor, Kent, Barisic and Tillman are out of the squad all together. So let me just give you the starting 11 against Aberdeen at 3 o'clock kick-off here. It's Robbie McCrory in goal. Now, he hasn't even been in a squad yet in 2023, but he will be Rangers number 1 this evening. It's a back 4 of James Tavernier, Connor Goldson, Ben Davies and Ridvan Yilmaz. It's the same midfield 3, John Lundstrom and Nico Raskin and Todd Cantwell, but a completely different front 3. Yanis Hadji makes his first league start since January 2022. Rabbi Matondo comes in as well, and Fashion Sakala leads the line. Looks like it'll be very fluid up top for the Gers. Substitutes: McLaughlin, Sousa, Kamara, Morelos, Wright, Arfield, King, Devine and Lowry. What about the Dons? Their last game was of course the 2-0 win against Rangers at Pittodrie 2 weeks ago. Since then, Barry Robson's been appointed permanent manager, and who could argue against it? What a fantastic record he has had since he's come in. The Dons have won 7 games in a row, kept 6 clean sheets throughout that time, and they are now 5 points clear of Hearts. Well, they were before the 2 games kicked off. There's only one change for the Dons from 2 weeks ago. It's a big blow though. Ross McCrory is out injured. He won't get to face his brother today. Hayden Coulson comes in for him, and it looks like Johnny Hayes will swap to right wing back. They're going to play a 3-5-2 formation. And Keller Roos is in goal. It's a back 3 of Angus MacDonald, Matty Pollock and Liam Scales. Johnny Hayes will probably be on the right with Hayden Coulson left wing back. Leighton Clarkson, Ilva Ramadani in midfield with Ryan Duncan. Just ahead of them, Bojan Miovski and Duke lead the line. Substitutes: Lewis, McKenzie, Morris, Barron, Markande, Watkins, Richardson, Kennedy and Babbage. The referee here in Glasgow is John Beaton, and Stevie Kirkland is on VAR.
Still goalless at Tynecastle for now. Hearts definitely in the ascendancy, trying to make something happen early on, but here comes Celtic, and I'll tell you what, Hugh Keevins, we've had a great lively week.
Yeah.
Just wondering about what's next for Rangers. What a statement from Michael Beale today.
Well, I give you full marks. You said yesterday you thought McCrory would play in goal. We did not agree. You were right, we were wrong. I think it's a bold step by Michael Beale. Likewise, taking Morelos out of the firing line and going with something entirely different up front. So I think Michael Beale is aware the Ibrox crowd and those watching on television are looking at him, and they want to see an improvement on the last 2 games. Aberdeen beat Rangers at Pittodrie, Celtic beat them in the Scottish Cup semi-final at Hampden. He can't afford to lose 3 on the bounce.
It's pretty much all of the boxes ticked. Mark Wilson, you talk about Kent and Morelos, they were the 2 because they're out of form and they're out of contract. He's left them both out to the point where Ryan Kent's out the squad, so I don't know if there's an injury there as well, but they've both been left out due to form really. And then in terms of shuffling things and looking ahead to the future, he has given Robbie McCrory the chance. He said he would, to be fair. We mentioned that yesterday. It's not like we dreamt up this scenario. Michael Beale said months ago he would give Robbie McCrory a chance to see what he's capable of. That chance begins today.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be many Rangers fans going along to Ibrox today disappointed with that lineup, because it is a nod to the future rather than continually playing players who, you know, their best days are behind them and going to be leaving the club. So it's a big afternoon for McCrory because he will come under pressure. I think every one of them, barring probably Davies, I'm not surprised at. But Celtic Davies, you could argue that maybe Shooter and Goldson is a partnership going forward into next year, but the team lineup certainly a nod to next year.
I think you look at the goalkeeper, obviously, and yes, we spoke about it yesterday. The manager did come out and make the statement. He's got to back his statement up, and he's doing that. He's giving the lad a great opportunity here. If he does well today, massive game next week at Ibrox again. But it's a big game for a lot of players. For instance, Yilmaz come in with a big price tag at left back. He's not replaced Barisic. Yes, he's been injured and struggled to get his fitness. Now this is an opportunity, maybe from now at the end of the season. Matondo, that we've never really heard a lot about, an impact from the bench lately. He's been given a chance, and I think the Rangers fans will be delighted that Hadji's back. I think he brings them a bit of flair, and he knows the passing, and he can open up defences, he can score goals. But big afternoon for a lot of these players.
Yes, that's your team news from Ibrox, and it's very, very interesting indeed. A number of changes. Robbie McCrory plays in goal. No Kent, no Morelos. Hadji returns. Matondo's in there. Sakala leading the line. Yilmaz in for the injured Borna Barisic. It is a nod to the future, and perhaps a nod to the past as well, in terms of players who haven't done their bit recently dropping out of that team. So we will continue the build up. Remember, you've got a slightly staggered start today, 30 minutes to go until kick-off at Ibrox. 12 and a half gone, and Celtic are definitely second best, Mark Wilson, you would have to say.
Not their best at all in possession, and very rarely have we said that this season about them. A bit careless, and it's all throughout the team. It's not just one player. You know, Kobayashi on a couple of occasions, Taylor, we're even seeing Hatate give it away, Ralston. So looking, not their sparkling best at the minute.
Is this what Tynecastle can do to you? Because as we said, the specific skill set that Kobayashi has displayed so far is that composed use of the ball, stepping out on that left foot and finding passes to teammates, but he's found that very, very difficult so far today, hasn't he?
I tell you what, he's got a last ditch tackle in there just to divert it away from a corner, so he's done his job in that respect. But yeah, it's all to do with the opposition and how Hearts put you under pressure. I think Stephen Naismith is getting a tune out of this side at the minute. He's had a fairly impressive start, apart from the Edinburgh derby, but
Kobayashi seems adamant that shouldn't have been a corner. I think he might have a point.
Yeah,
hard to tell for sure, but I do feel like it was it Shankland that diverted it over the bar?
Yeah, but
I'd be taking the credit of the tackle, to be quite honest.
I was wondering that.
Yeah, I would be taking.
It's like when the goalie denies that he got a touch, and you think, hold on a minute, you're doing yourself out of a good save here.
Yeah, but it's been a good start from Hearts. The home side are on the front foot, putting a bit of pressure on. But we've been in this movie before. If you don't capitalise,
Hearts flash one just past the post. It would have been an unlikely goal. It was Kai Rolls on the edge of the box, and when the ball was cleared, he hit a left-footed volley, and it flashed just past Joe Hart's post.
Inches wide. He catches it brilliantly. Starfield failing to clear his lines, catches it in a half volley, and that's inches past the post.
Where's the balance then, Gordon, of credit and blame? Are Hearts getting credit for this start, or are Celtic not at it?
I think you've got to give Hearts a lot of credit. They've obviously caught Celtic off guard a little bit. They're on the front foot. They're getting a lot of joy down the flanks. They're looking at this Celtic back four. It's a new back four because they're two very important pieces of the jigsaw missing. And let's face it, Carter Vickers has been absolute sensational for Celtic, and so has Johnson right back. So it may take Celtic time just to settle in there. And they're giving the ball away cheaply. I've never seen Celtic giving it away as quick. But listen, this is what they can do.
Yes, exactly. Well won by Hatate. Feeds Jota. He's twisting and turning, and his cross is going to go out for a corner kick to Celtic. So a chance for Celtic to press.
All credit to Hearts from me, Gordon.
Very fast, haven't they?
Yeah,
fast
they've just come out and they've grabbed the game by the throat, and Celtic look uncharacteristically nervous, and the partnership of Starfelt and Kobayashi of course has to find its feet, and at the moment the two of them are having severe difficulty finding their feet.
Yeah, Matt O'Reilly's corner then is actually a decent one, and it finds, I think, Anthony Ralston. Was it Greg Taylor?
Greg Taylor, yeah.
I'll tell you what, he'll be disappointed.
Purely didn't expect Greg Taylor to be winning headers in the 6 yard or near the 6 yard box from a corner. That's what threw me.
He gets too much. Yeah, he gets too much on the header. See if he just glances that, I think that is causing Xander Clark a little bit of problem.
Interesting. It's not the avenue you would expect Celtic to threaten first from, but that's the way it's been. 16 gone, Hearts 0, Celtic 0, and the home side will be pretty pleased with what they've offered so far.
Keep going back to the point. At kick-off, Hearts were 44 points adrift of Celtic, and they look as if they're above Celtic in the way they're playing at the moment, but that's rivalry, that's tradition, that's Scottish football, and Celtic a little shell-shocked at the moment.
Brilliant.
However, sometimes you have to marvel at the composure of Rio Hatate. He's inside his own penalty box and just a delicate little flick out to a teammate, but the ball's not fully clear yet. Hearts have it in the penalty box, and it's a last ditch attempt by Anthony Ralston. Otherwise Hearts might have been in.
It's a great ball from Barry Mackay there, because he's winding up as if he's going to shoot, and then he just puts it in. Is it into Shanklin's feet, who's about the penalty spot? Yeah, I think Celtic defend that well. Ralston gets nice and narrow, manages to clear it away.
I think Ralston's defend is brilliant there. The big difference is Hearts are winning every second ball so far.
Yeah.
You know, and look, don't get carried away. It's 16 minutes. I keep saying you will not continually do this to Celtic because they've got too much quality. While you're in the front foot and you know you're dominating the game, you've got to put the ball in the back of net.
Yeah, usual jostling as Hearts try and work something from the training ground, and there can't be anything worse as a manager when you try that. But I'll tell you what, that is outstanding recovery from Alex Cochrane, because not many get the better of Dies and Maida in that regard. Mark Wilson. Celtic nipped the ball off from the short corner. Maida was on the break, and Cochrane showed a wonderful burst of pace to get back and catch him.
Does well, and then very unlucky Barry Mackay, reverse pass, just tries to put it inside Rio Hatate into Janelli, but he gives away the foul. But good period this for Hearts. Even Celtic in possession, they've got good shape.
Well, that's what I was just looking at. It's quite intelligent, isn't it? You see Lawrence Shankland, he's not pressing on to Celtic centre halves, he's staying near Callum McGregor, but then everyone else is in a good position, so that Starfelt and Kobayashi have got limited options, and it's working so far.
It was a point I made last week at the game at Hampden. If you're to stop Celtic, you need to stop Callum McGregor and the service into him. And Shankland, you can quite clearly see there's just sitting on him. You know, when Celtic have got possession, doesn't even think about going to press Starfelt or Kobayashi. Do
you think this Celtic team, Gordon, is part of the challenge, the mental one? Will they get in the heads of the opposition? Because you must be thinking, no matter how well you're doing, that they're likely to score, or that, you know, if you don't score in your period of dominance, it will come back to haunt you.
100%, and I think Hearts will know that. I think you're looking at the Celtic manager, who'll probably be going, do you know what, we've not started well, but I've seen this before. You know, other teams come at us, they're defending. As much as we're praising Hearts, Joe Hart's not really had a lot to do, but Hearts have been terrific on the front foot, trying to create some opportunities. But Celtic got a chance here with a corner kick coming in, and
I think it was actually headed off of a teammate from Anthony Ralston at the near post. Not exactly.
Hearts have been ferocious, absolutely ferocious in their intent, and you know, I agree with Gordon Dale 100%. They have to capitalise on that ferocity at the right time. They have to get in front now and really give Celtic something to think about.
A real feature of Celtic's play is that pass from fullback inside the opposition fullback for the winger, and Ralston just overcooked that one to Maida, who incidentally has switched wings with Jota. We know that happens fairly often. In fact, it worked to great effect at Hampden last week. You've all seen the goal, I'm sure. And they had switched places just before that, hadn't they, Gordon?
Yeah, it's something that I don't know if the manager tells them, but they're getting a lot of space in behind Ralston here, the right back position.
And it's, I tell you what, a heavy touch from Oda, and it does Hearts out of a golden opportunity. He's about on the penalty spot, it's cut back to him, and his first touch just takes it towards a Celtic defender. That was a much better opportunity than it turned out to be, if that makes any sense.
He takes a touch here, Mark. The Hearts have right in here with a chance to put the ball in the back.
I feel like even an average touch would have done it.
Yeah.
It's quite a bit of space.
You described that, a very heavy touch, Gordon, gives the defender an opportunity to clear it, but it's very positive from Hearts. Really, really positive. They're on the front foot.
This is a team who lost 5 games in a row and got their manager sacked, and here they are now, absolutely bossing the game against Celtic, bullying Celtic to a degree, but there's so much quality in that Celtic team, you have to be careful that all of that counts for nothing.
Yeah, Hatate just tries the delicate one threaded through to Kyogo, but it was, even by his standards, I think ambitious, you would have to say.
I still like that though. Hatate's always looking to go forward. He doesn't look to go sideways all the time or back. He's always looking for that pass that will split the defence. Just gets it wrong that time. But we're 20 minutes in and we've not seen Kyogo touch a ball
Yes, we
until
have.
now.
He even somehow doesn't manage to touch it on that occasion. I think the flag goes up anyway.
His run's terrific though, because he's not been involved at all, but he just dips that shoulder and he's looking to get in behind.
I think Kyogo's one of those players.
Right.
One of those players. He doesn't need to be involved because one touch from him might settle the game. But it is a terrific game. You wonder if the game live up to the hype. As I said at the start of the programme, you won't get it any more exciting or intriguing than this, but it has lived up to every word of the hype. It is a great watch.
Yeah, it is indeed. We are already pretty much at the halfway point of this first half. It's been a very, very quick start to the game. Hearts full of energy, full of tempo, full of attacking intent, and they will be delighted with their start. They've not found the breakthrough though, and although Celtic have been far from their best, you can still sense that they are capable. I don't mean to dig out one individual. Is it Kobayashi again who gives it away?
He cannot find a green and white
very tough opening on the ball, hasn't he?
He's having an Aaron Moy in the Rangers game.
I do wonder if the difference is Hearts are just pressing really well in this one. Aaron Moy was making the most bizarre errors in that game, but
he'll never have a game like that.
I feel like Hearts have just been very clever at cutting off his angles every time he gets
exactly
it.
And obviously they're stopping the supply, the easy ball into McGregor to go and build and pass through the lines. Hearts tactically so far have been excellent, but as I keep saying, with this pressure you need to, in front of goals, test Joe Hart a little bit more. As much as we can say the possession stats are very much in favour of Hearts, Joe Hart's not really been tested a lot.
Yeah, I tell you what, that was a decent chance for Hearts. I don't think they expected the Celtic defence to miss it at the near post, and it came to Rolls again, who flashed his effort wide this time. And it's brilliant run. It's actually brilliant work from both, from Callum McGregor who carries it far, and Lawrence Shankland who stays with him. Done really well as Hatate lines one up. He scored a screamer at Tynecastle, did he not?
He did.
Introduced himself to the Celtic fans, but he gets that one.
McGregor does brilliant there. Runs into the wide area. Shankland, you're right, matches him all the way, but he manages to wriggle free, pass it inside. I think Hatate, he's got that in his locker, but probably best to have kept that going.
It's the only thing it's the only thing, and I know that the game's changed. The only thing I don't like about Shankland have to make those runs back with McGregor going. Shankland is an out-and-out goal scorer, but I know he's added a bit to. I know he's dropped off into that number 10 role, but I would love to see Shankland more in the final for me.
We just can't keep having it both ways though. They just scored 6 goals in their last game playing this way. Yeah,
but you're playing against Celtic. You'll not have to do that as much against Ross County at home.
I'm saying that's just that's his role now, isn't it? Ginelli's the one that.
I think
Ginelli's the focal point, and Shankland plays. You can't just then, you can't just change that every week.
He's talking about him as a striker. He would hate to track back like Shankland. The game's moved on now.
I know where you're coming from. I wouldn't have tracked back. My job is, and I know he's changed his role, and whether people say that that's his best role now is still to be argued, because I think he can still play as that focal number 9 and get the goals, because I think he's added so much to his game, his hold up play, his movement.
But Hearts' best performances are when Ginelli plays through the front and he plays off him. This season, that's what we've seen.
Lately you're talking about Ross County. Yeah, they were excellent against Ross County.
Most of the impressive ones this season before it went a bit Pete Tong under Robbie Nielsen.
I've never seen Hearts play as well as this.
You know what? They've got it spot on with the way they're shaping up and the way that they're choosing to press when Celtic have a goal kick is hugely impressive. You can see they've worked on this on the training ground all week, and they're getting it right. 25 minutes in, they're getting it right.
They're flying into the tackles, and the crowd are up on their feet every time somebody flies in.
Yeah, I mean, James Hill's got a simple but effective tactic so far, that when Dyson Maeda gets it, just push him over, and that way he won't be able to turn and go anywhere.
Listen, I know we're joking, but see if he's close to Maeda, he makes him go back, instead of letting him get the ball at his feet, square him up, and Maeda's going to have the pace on most full backs in this country. So he's matching him pretty well. He's doing his job down at a team. Managers obviously asked him to play that way, get tight, get close to people. They're all carrying it out.
So 26 gone, Hearts 0, Celtic 0 in the Edinburgh sunshine. Stephen Naismith covering just as much ground on the touchline as his players are on the pitch. He's very animated, he's up and down. Hope he's got the Fitbit on, making sure he gets his steps in for the day as Rio Hitati takes off whatever was on under the t-shirts. He's not used to these temperatures. It's bizarrely warm.
Yeah,
like it's come out of nowhere today.
See, that's the problem for Celtic. The sun is shining.
You're right. I thought about you this morning.
Can't
I did
play
when I saw the sun.
football in sunshine.
I thought Hugh Keevins likes it dark and chaotic and
Sinister.
mysterious, sinister. That's the word.
Yeah. But you know, Xander Clark has had absolutely nothing to do. 27 minutes in, nothing at all to do.
Good run that from Maeda, just changing things up, not coming towards the ball. He just dips his shoulder, goes in behind Hill, but Taylor's pass just a bit too long. And that's the problem, is a fullback coming up against these guys, Jota and Maeda. They can do both. You know, they can come inside, they can come deep, get the ball, or they can just drop the shoulder and go in behind. But that one just ran out to play that time.
It's, you know, as I said, I can't remember seeing Hearts play this well for a long time, and I can't remember seeing Celtic under Ange Postecoglou look as subdued as they have been so far into this game.
Hearts were like this a fortnight ago against Ross County. I know it's a different challenge, but maybe they're starting to come onto a game again.
Celtic just haven't found any sort of rhythm. You know, struggling to keep the ball for 4 and 5 passes, which is
I thought
unusual.
you were going to say 2 and 3.
2 and 3.
To be quite
well,
honest,
actually, yeah, that's probably closer to the truth. Quite unusual. Credit to Hearts, though.
Yep, absolutely. There we go. I think that's 4. You can start your count now, but they sometimes do go direct. Greg Taylor, it just seems like every through ball
just overhit.
It's just a yard too far, or the player is just a split second behind in the thought process.
The only thing, if you're Stephen Naismith, you just be a wee bit concerned, because you know that one of those balls are eventually got to find its target, and it's got to be the right weight. Every one that they've had lately is just, you know, that, as you say, a couple of yards, a yard just too far.
Perhaps at both ends, though. I mean, the two players with the fewest touches on the pitch are the two strikers. Kyogo no one has fewer touches on this pitch than Kyogo. He's only touched it 4 times, but right next to him in the list is Josh Ginnelly. So neither side's managing to get it into their front man. Now I'm sure you might expect that, because these guys just have to come alive at the final passage of the play. I think it's Greg Taylor's turn, is it, to slide one out of play up the left hand side.
Gotta say, Oda is doing a good job. You know, not seen much of him going forward, but in terms of stopping or shutting off kind of zones where Kobayashi's looking to play it into and pressing Taylor, he's been effective in that respect.
Just a long
and
throw.
Hill, by the way, what about the length of throw Hill's got him? I didn't know he had that in his locker.
Must admit, neither did I.
I would be struggling to
in the
kick it that far, never mind throw that. I can't believe he's actually going to attempt it.
Yeah, he's about 35 yards
goodness.
along the touchline, and it's gone straight on to, well, beyond the penalty spot actually.
Ralston's head, the opposite side.
Tell you what, he's just taking Wishart's record at Tynecastle.
The longest throw in at Tynecastle.
Oh yeah,
no, the previous record holder would be Robbie Nielsen. You ever seen him?
No.
Yeah,
Robbie Nielsen.
What a throw he
No,
had.
I
That
didn't
was
know
the
that.
tactic.
But I'll tell you what, I'll take a lot to beat Hill there.
Remember there was a television programme, what was it called? It was on STV.
Was that when it
Who's
went to
got the
STV?
longest
It
throw?
wasn't Sports Scene. Remind me. It was Scottish Sport, it would have been.
Was it Scottish
Yeah, when
Sport?
Scottish Sport came back,
and they used to do the long throw challenge.
what was it called though?
Oh,
It had a name, like Throw In King or something.
something like that.
And Robbie Nielsen was on it.
Yeah.
I can't really remember who else though.
I don't think there was many more in Scotland. I remember practicing for it though.
You did?
Well, we all did at Dundee
Alright.
United, because I was a fullback. I took it when I was a kid, but I was nowhere near it.
Motherwell's long throw expert when I was growing up was Stephen Craigan. I was never convinced that he could actually throw it like that long, like, you know, like some of these guys. But there was the famous goal. I say famous to me. I think it clinched top 6 or something like that, where he opened one of the gates on the east stand. He was very tight to the pitch.
That.
Probably not even allowed to do that when you think
Ran
about
down
leaving
Airborne Road.
the field of play. So he opened the gate, went back into the stand, threw it into the box. It was an absolute atrocious piece of defending, and it ended up in the back of the net somehow. And he then sort of became known as like this throw-in king, but I was never convinced it was actually that long. I think he just got that one.
It's
that one
actually not a bad weapon to have, is it? If you've got maybe 5 minutes to go and you're chasing a goal.
There you are. That's why Andrew McLean is out there with the knowledge, and we're in here talking nonsense. James Hill competed at national level for the javelin.
No way.
There you are.
Wow.
The javelin.
Yeah. That's
So you
as
should
long
just
as
throw the
as
ball
long as I've seen in
one-handed.
Scotland.
Why not?
Throw the ball one-handed. Remember the lad that used to do the rolly thing and then just got up on his feet and throw it?
Yeah, was there not one at a World Cup a couple of the
Yeah.
previous, not the World Cup there, the one before? Sort of handspring type.
Handspring, that's the word. That's the words I'm
I'd like
looking
to see
for.
you try that.
Oh, no chance. I
This
don't think I
man's
took
sporting
a
an injury, though. He wouldn't be able to do
Why are you doing the show with your shoes off?
it. No, just one
it's-
shoe.
Well, that's-
Just one shoe off.
that can't be good for the hip because you'll be lopsided.
I'm starting to go. 1 minute I'm 6'4", next minute I'm 5'2".
So is there a reason you've got one shoe on and one shoe
I've got
off?
a bit of sore foot, Gordon, to be quite honest with
Could
you.
I, without knowing much about these things, could I recommend you just take the other one off? That if you're determined to have one off, I do feel like you'd be as well just
Taking the two off?
levelling it up.
Yeah, I might do that at half time.
I feel I've got the raw deal here because
Standing
I'm
next
looking
to the
down.
smell.
I'm looking down,
No, I've not
and he's
smelled
got the
food.
sock, but the sock's hanging off his foot.
Oh,
You know,
yuck.
it's not tight to his
I
toes. He's
can't,
got
I can't put
it's
socks
got
down to
weird.
tight to toes.
What
do you mean?
When I take my shoes off, I've got to pull my sock away.
How weird does that look? You are one of the strangest adults I've ever met in my life.
Yeah, I can't stand.
So,
I bet there are 100 people out there.
To paint the picture,
exactly.
since this is radio, Gordon Dalziel's sock is hanging a good couple of inches off the end of his toe, and
Yeah.
that's the way you always wear them.
Every time I take my shoes off,
It's
I can't.
disgusting.
Ludicrous.
Yeah.
I can't do it. I just-
Honestly, you must be joking.
no, honest God, it's just something I've done since I was a kid.
Cammy Devlin takes a sore one in the middle of his own half, but he's fine. Up he gets. Well, I think he's fine. Maybe a dead leg or something. It's that sort of look about it. Xander Clark is going to go along with the kick.
You've got to say after 32 minutes, as much as praise Hearts, you're looking at Celtic's big players. Hatate has won one shot. Jota, Maeda, Kyogo.
I'm glad you added to the list because if anything, Hatate's at least been more involved than the other names that you
O'Reilly
mentioned.
as well. You're looking for a bit of inspiration from these lads, but all credit to Hearts. I think Mark's got it spot on. They've done their homework. They're closing Celtic down. They're trying to use the width of the pitch too wide, but it's been a good 33 minutes from Hearts' point of view.
Just to make sure we don't sometimes pick an opinion and stick to it no matter what, our Heart's starting to drop out of it slightly
Ever so
in an
slightly,
attacking
yeah.
sense.
Yeah. Celtic are just trying to find their range. You know, the last pass, as we pointed out earlier, always overhit. And Gordon makes a valid point. Maeda and particularly Jota. Jota could be at Hart Hill Services now, for all you would know.
How does a man who doesn't drive have such good knowledge of service stations on the motorway?
I'm a perfect passenger.
So that means when the person that does drive pulls over at Hart Hill, you buy whatever's
Correct.
getting bought for the journey.
if I'm held at gunpoint.
Anyway, it's a throw in down the far. I mean, even James Hill's javelin standards, I don't
Yeah,
think
get it
he'll-
in the box.
I don't think he'll reach from here because he's well in his own half. But he's given the ball a good dry anyway. I think he's given it a bash.
Oh, look at this. He's going for it.
Oh, behave.
No, he's going for a halfway
No,
line.
I know, but like I've never seen anyone put so much effort into a throw from his own half.
Yeah, but he has thrown it about 40 yards. Right enough.
Nice flick though from Callum McGregor. Just puts a little bit of space for his fellow midfielders to run onto.
Celtic have been so ordinary so far.
Yeah.
You know, it's just simple passes are getting wrong as well, but lack of creativity, which is weird to say when you look at the array of players they've got on show today. Jota and Maeda and Hatate. Riley has been really quiet.
Yeah.
Just no one looking to.
Somebody can look up the actual dimensions to see if it's as drastic as I'm about to suggest. But you know, always talk about the tight pitch at Tynecastle Mark, and obviously Hearts use that way. It does have that feel to it, doesn't it? It just doesn't look like there's much space out there. Is that a combination of like I say, both of those factors? Does it feel that bit tighter? And obviously Hearts are doing their
Certainly
job.
does. Yeah. And I know that's an optical illusion when you're on the pitch because the stands are on top of you, but it does always feel tight. But again, credit to Hearts because there you go, Oda. You know, terrific at pressing, forcing Celtic players into mistakes. Just seems very little room out there.
O'Reilly gives you the impression he doesn't really fancy this. Doesn't fancy the cut and thrust of it all. I mean, Jota is just anonymous. He's just not taking part in the game. But O'Reilly gives you the impression it's all a bit too much for him.
I think there's a great shape to Hearts so far. I really do. I think they've worked at this before a game, the way that where they allow Celtic to have the ball. But Celtic are starting to go.
I was going to
into
say,
this
I
game.
do feel like they might be shifting just a
Yeah.
bit. It was a reverse from Greg Taylor. And Jota initially robs Toby Sibic, but then it was almost out anyway. It goes out, Jota goes down. I don't think there's any real complaint to be had.
I don't think he even believed it was. He almost gets round the other side. A Sibic who's just trying to nurse it out. Maybe a bit of contact, by the way, on the back of Jota's calf.
No, of course you can.
Given that,
you can have a look, and I'm sure they will.
I don't think they will.
Well, they will.
No, I don't think they'll give it.
Get the centre of your goal. Hurry up and take that.
Xander Clark's getting told, I think, just to carry on with the goal kick. It's funny just seeing Anthony Ralston on the ball on the left side of the centre circle there. It genuinely did take me back, Mark Wilson, to 31st of July 2021, the first time we saw a domestic game involving the Celtic team. So I remember being here watching this TV in this stadium and thinking, look at those fullbacks, look at where they are. We're now so used to it. It was just funny to see it there, because of course that night it was Ralston as well, before Juranovic, and then Alistair Johnson came in.
I remember watching it that night. I thought it was bonkers, because I know we'd seen Man City play in that respect or similar. I just didn't expect it to come here, and because it's a new manager and he lost the game, then it was something used to maybe criticise Ange Postecoglou, but he's found 2 or 3, 4 players maybe that can play it no problem. That's a great ball.
Good bit of defending from Kai Rolls. He slices it right up in the air, which might not sound like it's good, but he had to get there, and Xander Clark's able to come and collect. Right, this is game 1 of a potential title defining day in the Scottish Premiership. Let's go to Ibrox, because we're nearly ready to kick off there between Rangers and Aberdeen. Gabriel?
Yes, we are, Gordon. We're about 4 minutes away from kick-off here. Michael Beale demanding a performance from his side. They've lost 3 of their last 4 matches, and Beale said it's a hugely exciting time for the club, but he's got to give fans a reason to believe that and show some promise here today. We'll let us see some ideas ahead of next season. A huge game for Rid van Yilmaz. He comes into the team. He's got to live up to his £5 million price tag. He's not played much at all this season. Rabbi Matondo and Yanis Hadji come in from the start. A massive chance for both of those. We know Rangers are in the market for more forwards. These two have barely played during Beale's 6-month tenure. Can they seize their opportunity here today? As I said, it is a much changed 11 for Rangers. 5 changes in total to the team that lost 1-0 in last weekend's Scottish Cup Old Firm semi-final. It's McCrory, Yilmaz, Matondo, Hadji and Sakala all in. Morelos drops to the bench, whilst McGregor, Kent, Barisic and Tillman are nowhere to be seen. Robbie McCrory is in goal. It's the back 4 of James Tavernier, Connor Goldson, Ben Davis and Rid van Yilmaz. The midfield 3 stays the same. It's John Lundstrom, Nico Raskin and Todd Cantwell, but a completely changed front 3. Yanis Hadji, Ravi Matondo and Fashion Sakala lead the line. Substitutes: McLaughlin, Suter, Kamara, Morelos, Wright, Arfield, King, Devine and Lowry. What about the Dons? They've won 7 games in a row. The last of those was a 2-0 victory over Rangers, the final game before the split at Pataudry, and they were fantastic on that Sunday. Permanent manager Barry Robson, who has recently been appointed, will want exactly the same from his side today. They've only made 1 change to that team. Captain Ross McCrory drops out and Hayden Coulson comes in for him, so their team is as follows. It's a 3-5-2 formation. Keller Roos in goal, a back 3 of Angus MacDonald, Matty Pollock and Liam Scales. Johnny Hayes and Hayden Coulson will likely be the wing backs, with Ilbo Ramadani, Leighton Clarkson and Ryan Duncan in the middle. Bojan Miovski and Duke lead the line. Lewis, McKenzie, Morris, Barrett, Markandi, Watkins, Richardson, Kennedy and Babbage are the substitutes. We're about 2 minutes away from kick-off here, Gordon. The last time the Dons won in Govan was in 2019, 4 years ago. So much has changed since then, but they might fancy their chances here today against a much changed Rangers 11. Ibrox is starting to pack out as James Tavernier leads the Rangers team out onto the pitch. A massive game here, a massive chance for many players to show what they can do next season. Kick-off is just 2 minutes away.
Yeah, I was wondering, Gabriel, when you mentioned the crowd, I wondered if some Rangers fans would have maybe, given up or not taken the trip to Ibrox today, but is it pretty full?
Yeah, Gordon, I was speaking to a few people here before kickoff about 20 minutes ago. It was only about half full, and I thought that might be the case, but no, it is packed out now. Although I must say, when I arrived to the stadium, it was a strange atmosphere outside on the streets of Ibrox. Fans here more than aware that Celtic are on the cusp of the title and very possibly a treble. They want to see a performance and a victory here today.
Yeah, interesting that one, Hugh. I mean, I saw some stuff on social media about tickets being available and stuff, and I never really knew to what extent, so it sounds fairly full anyway.
Yeah, and full of people who have got the impression that Hearts could do Rangers a favour here by beating Celtic, deflate them a little before Celtic go to Ibrox next weekend.
Yeah, although that just gives Celtic the chance to win the title at your patch, doesn't it?
Yeah, but I think Hearts will be disappointed that they are not in front in this game, where we've got 3 or 4 minutes to go until half time. The Celtic still continuing to pass to Hearts players at regular intervals.
Have Hearts created enough though to be disappointed at not being in front?
I think that's the disappointment, the lack of creation, the superiority they have, overwhelming superiority in outfield, but not putting Joe Hart under sufficient pressure.
Yeah, it's a good tackle from Oda, but it goes to Starfelt anyway. It just feels, Gordon, that Hearts started really well, and they're still doing okay, but it doesn't feel quite as suffocating for Celtic as it was. Like I say, sometimes there's a tendency you pick a mindset at the start of the game when you're watching it, and you stick. Tell you what, Alex Cochrane, I think he's going to be bailed out by the fact that he had colleagues with him, because another couple of inches away,
he's off.
Might have been a straight red.
Yeah,
Maida got in behind him. He's about to get in the box. Oh, he's very close.
I don't think
that Rose is getting back there.
No,
Rose is getting back to cover.
I'll tell you what, when you see Charlie Mulgrew's yesterday,
yeah.
No, I don't think Charlie Mulgrew's one was much wider than that, and possibly heading slightly away. Maeda was in.
He's
there.
in goals.
Yeah.
Mark. That's a goal scoring opportunity. He has
so?
got away with one for me. I don't think there's any chance the Hearts defenders catch them.
Now, how can the people sitting in front of the machinery not see that?
I always think, because we said it with Mulgrew yesterday, these ones are tough, I think. I mean, Rose is quite close. I know Maida's quicker than him. Rose is pretty close though, no?
It's touch and
He's
go.
close, but I think Maeda's in. The rule is denying an obvious goal scoring opportunity.
I agree with Mark. When I seen it at first, I thought that is borderline. It's borderline for me.
I think he'll know, and he's protesting his innocence here. Cochrane, he's saying he stood his ground and maybe Maeda's just tripped. No, I think he's been.
You know what's funny about this? The two that I can remember from this season, I think, have been very harsh in a way. You mentioned Mulgrew yesterday. Remember there was one Motherwell up at Dingwall. Ross County went down to 10 men. Van Veen sort of nipped it off again on the angle. I'll tell you what, Nick Walsh is going for a look. Alex Cochrane could be off here.
He's not surviving.
And Hearts could be down to 10 men. It depends your criteria. If Charlie Mulgrew's is a red yesterday, that's a red. But if Charlie Mulgrew's is a mistake yesterday,
that's a mistake.
I think there's a difference between them.
I'll tell you what, now that you see it slowed down,
Rose is never getting back there.
I agree with you,
time for Maeda to take his touch and get the shot away.
But he can hit it first time, so he's denying a goal score. He can hit that
obvious goal scoring opportunity.
Obviously, Gordon, my apologies, but that's a red card. He's not getting away with that.
Think so?
100%.
Well, Nick Walsh is going to the screen. That usually gives you an idea. He's coming back across. He's doing the sign for the TV. He's calling Alex Cochrane over. This could be a big moment in the game, and he is off. The yellow card's been taken away. It's been replaced by a red, and Hearts are down to 10 men for denying an obvious goal scoring opportunity. Hearts 0, Celtic 0 just before the break. One thing you would say, Mark, as a fullback, how annoying is that? Because he's accidentally tripped Maeda. That doesn't mean by the letter of the law you can't have any complaints. I'm talking about as a player, you must think,
well, the mistake comes before the trip, because he gets dragged to Maeda a wee bit, and before he knows it, he's in behind.
To be fair, he kind of does try. Is there a tug with the left hand?
Yeah. He gets caught, Gordon. He knows he's in trouble.
Left hand tugs him back.
He knows he's in trouble, and especially when he looks at who it is with the pace. He knows he's made a mistake, and I think that he knew right away. As much as he was pleading his innocence, he knows that listen, I'm in trouble.
What's that
here.
like, Mark, when you're in that situation? Is it an instinctive thing? Because it's so easy for me to sit here and think, you should have just left him. Just let Maida run into the box and then you'll get to play out the rest of the game.
Pretty much.
Just an instinctive thing.
Instinct. You're wanting to stop him. You're thinking maybe just a slight touch might put him off, but obviously you don't get away with it now. With VAR, you shouldn't get away with it, and it's proven the right decision in that case. As soon as I saw it, I thought he's definitely in trouble here. And it's just weird that Cochrane, Shankland, Xander Clark's out there protesting. Even though Nick Walsh has went over and looked at the screen, they're still protesting. It's the right decision.
Yeah, not that it matters, because you can tie yourself in knots going round in circles and analysing these things. Chris Sutton has taken to Twitter to say that is not a red card. Willie Collum in the VAR hut has absolutely pooped it, he says.
Well, I mean, Sutty, that's the way he rolls. But we've all had a good look at it. The referee, who initially gave a yellow, has had a better look at it on monitor and has been told by head office that it's a red card. So
I wonder under what circumstances is that based on? Chris Sutton saying that.
I think
it's
it could be
not
not
a red card.
Just on his opinion.
Rolls is not that far away. The Maida, is it an angle? The ball's bouncing up. I suppose it comes to, what do you think is an obvious goal scoring opportunity? If he's bearing straight through on goal and the ball's in front of him and he's about to take a shot on.
To be honest, I think that is what happened. I think he was getting in goal. The ball was angled towards the goal. It wasn't like it was spinning.
And would you believe Celtic score from the resulting free kick?
The
flag is up. The flag is up. And it
looked offside.
VR will have a look at this. It did look offside. Carl Starfelt was involved, as it was curled round the back post. I think he's going to be given offside for that.
Great
one.
line from the Hearts back line there, because they've got a 3-man wall there as well standing, so they have to get that right. And was it Starfelt? I just went a bit too soon. Is Starfelt involved in it? Was it Ralston that heads it?
It's Ralston who's offside though. I think from the initial header.
Stephen Naismith will just be wanting to get this half-time whistle, get his team in, reorganise. That's a game plan. They'll need plan B now. They're down to 10 men. He'd have been very pleased with the first half. But I'm with Mark here. You can sum this up any way you want. I think that is a red card. I think he's made the right decision. Only my opinion.
Is it not one of them? If your heart's, you're not furious with that?
Yeah, of course you're furious, can do 10 men. But I think if you look at it, put it this way, if it was up the other end, I think Hearts would be, up Marnes if it wasn't given a red card. I think Maeda's got every opportunity to get shot away quickly before Rolls gets so. I don't think he's getting there.
it's ironic, Maeda's had absolutely nothing to do with this game, but is now involved in the big moment of the first half. And listen, people will tell us to wait for Dermot Gallagher tomorrow on the telly. It doesn't matter. We've all had a look at it, and the three of us standing here say penalty. Say red card rather.
What I would say then, I'm surprised all three of you are as sure. Right, you're all entitled to your opinion. I'm surprised. I am not disagreeing. I'm surprised that it's a clean sweep. I'm surprised you're all so sure.
Well,
I'll leave it there.
The reason I'm sure is because the minute I seen it and then I seen the yellow, I thought, oh, he's got away with one there. I thought that was problems for him. Now, Willie Collum was flicked up. The referee has went over and had a second look, and the officials thought, yeah.
But once he goes over, it's given anyway, isn't it? The second look becomes, it shouldn't be,
well,
but it becomes irrelevant.
Normally, yes, normally. We've seen referees going over before.
Yeah, not really though, let's be honest.
Well, did Willie Collum not do it?
I don't know why you do this. Everybody knows when they go to the screen they're going to give it.
Right,
we can do this dance all day, but we know that's what happens.
Yeah, but it's happened before, that's all I'm saying. I still think he's made the correct decision. I think
yellow
it's the correct
card
decision.
for Matt O'Reilly, leaves one on the ankle of Lawrence Shankland. Todd Cantwell smashed a strike over from 20 yards a moment or two ago for Rangers. That was the first update to bring you from there. Not much else to tell you in the way of goalmouth action in that one.
Well, this is the last chance of the first half. Hearts get this ball in and see if they can test Joe Hart, and then we're all done.
Yeah, just going to be floated in. It's a decent enough ball because it causes Hatate to backtrack and put it out for a corner. We're now at 50 minutes on the clock. There was 3 added on, but we ate well into that, I think, with the additional stoppage within that.
Well, a great time for him to score now here from this corner.
And it's testament to the way they've approached their work that even the loss of Alec Cochrane They still fancy themselves 10 men to get a goal before half time, and on the balance of play in the first half, they should be in front.
Yeah, I think overall I'm a bit disappointed at the lack of goal mouth action. I know we've all praised Hearts, and it's been energetic, and they've cut off Celtic's passing options, but
Rose's half volley, the closest we've came, just past
It takes Naismith
Stephen
out.
Naismith wiped out by Jota on the touchline. I think Jota doesn't know. There we are, Stephen Naismith telling everyone it's okay, Ange Postecoglou's over. He just sort of, there we are, yellow card.
I think Naismith made the most of that there, didn't he?
He goes down too easily. Anyway, it is half time. They're all friends going up the tunnel. It's half time at Tynecastle. Let's speak to Andrew McLean.
Hearts 0, Celtic 0, the half-time score, and on a day that was meant to be Celtic's, it's been Stephen Naismith's side that have been the most impressive in this game. However, a late red card in the half could turn this game around in the second half. It was an excellent start from them, not giving Celtic a moment's peace, attacking quickly when they got the ball as well, causing Celtic all sorts of problems. Joe Hart had to tip a Lawrence Shankland header over the bar, but he was flagged for offside after it was tipped over. Around 15 minutes in, Kai Rolls went close. The ball came to him at the edge of the box after a corner, but his volley went just wide of the post. Celtic's only early chance really was a header over the bar from Greg Taylor, but Hearts were relentless in their pressing for most of the half, although the pace of the game did slow down a bit towards the end of it. Celtic nowhere near their best, really haven't threatened in an attacking sense. Chances for Hearts did also dry up as well as the break closed in. Hearts would have been confident going into the second half, but Alex Cochrane tripped Dyson Maida as he headed into the box. Initially a yellow card was given, but following a VAR check, Nick Walsh upgraded it to a red card for denying of an obvious goal scoring opportunity. Celtic had the ball in the back of the net from the resulting free kick. Ralston's knocked down, Starfelt getting the final touch, but that one was flagged offside. Celtic with work to do if they want to clinch the title here at Tynecastle. The half-time score, Hearts 0, Celtic 0.
Interesting first half, that's for sure. No goals to be had, and we don't really know. It's one of those frustrating days because of the timing of it. Mark Wilson, this might weirdly be enough to get Celtic the title, but Rangers would need to slip up at home
maybe
to Aberdeen, and they're 45 minutes behind, so we don't know yet. But everybody had visions here of Celtic turning up, winning the game, winning the title. No hassle. It's been far from that.
Yeah, I don't think it's the way Ange Postecoglou would want to win the title. I think he'll be in that dressing room having a wee go at his players. Now, he's not had to do that too often this season, but I think Celtic have been well below par. Now, we gave Hearts all the credit in the first half for the shape, the way they pressed, but you still thought Celtic were going to find their feet and work their way into the game. I don't quite think it's been there. I think too many players in second gear at the minute, so I think the Celtic manager will have a few stern words, and I'm pretty sure you'll see a different performance. Of course, they're against 10 men now, so that should give them more room to play in, but they need better to get the job done.
Yeah, I think he'll demand a bit more. Of course he will. He'll not be happy with that, but I think you've got to look over the other side. Stephen Naismith, up until that send off, we went in 0-0, would delight it. I think Hearts tactically are spot on today. They pressed Celtic, they made them look uncomfortable. Celtic were giving sloppy passes, giving the ball away. Hearts were winning the second ball. But it all goes down to as well, the argument against is, as much as Hearts at times dominated the possession, Joe Hart has never been called into action really. There've been one shot just flashed by the post, but apart from that they've offered nothing. But to be fair to Hearts, Sander Clark has had a quiet 50 minutes plus. So we need a bit more goal mouth action, I would say.
Well, all credit to Hearts, and I don't think that with 10 men against 11 they are necessarily out of this game. Far from it, because they have matched Celtic in every way. The way that they are throwing themselves into tackles, the way that they're harrying Celtic, I just think that they have as good a chance now as they had at 2:15.
Well, what an interesting start to the afternoon. Still nothing in the way of goal action from Ibrox. Matondo's been bright down that left hand side. Aberdeen have had very little of the ball, but that kind of suits them. That's what they do under Barry Robson, and they're very efficient at it. Will that efficiency get them something today? Well, we will find out as the afternoon progresses, approaching the 15-minute mark there, and it is still goalless between Rangers and Aberdeen. It is goalless as well at Tynecastle, although Hearts are down to 10 men, and I'm sure you've not heard the last of that incident. We'll be back next.
The team with the biggest support in Glasgow and the West. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Half time at Tynecastle. If Celtic win today, they guarantee themselves getting their hands on that Premiership trophy, but they have work to do. It is goalless. They've not offered a great deal. Hearts have been good. However, Hearts went down to 10 men just before the break after a VAR check. A denial of an obvious goal scoring opportunity was the charge against Alex Cochrane, and he was shown a red card. At Ibrox, it's also still goalless. Aberdeen starting to come into a bit in the sense of looking to counter-attack, but Yilmaz, he's been seeing plenty of the ball. He's been pretty good. That'll be one, I think, Mark, that will excite Rangers fans. Borna Barisic has lots of critics. Yilmaz was signed for decent money. Borna Barisic's contract is up next year, so there's a lot of intrigue in that position of the pitch today.
I think so. I think it's one that needs to progress as well and evolve. Barisic, no doubt, has been a very good servant for Rangers in terms of the assists and the title winning season. He was a huge part of that, but I think there's major question marks about him defensively, and I think Van Bronckhorst knew that when he brought in Yilmaz. Now Yilmaz has had to sit in the touchline through injury and maybe a lack of form, but it's a big period for him. If he can get a run of 5 games under his belt and big games at that, then I'll give the Rangers fans a good glimpse of what to expect next year, because I think Barisic's days are numbered.
I think you're right there. I think it's about a run of games. You can't just bring someone in. You come in for a big price tag. He's been unfortunate, lad, with injuries. Now he's back to full fitness. He's got an opportunity. He'd be the same for me. I would be throwing him in there for the last remaining games of the season. Give him a run of games, let him settle in, get him playing, and let's see what he can do, because the Rangers fans do want to see these players. They want to see what they're what they're capable of, and it'll be interesting. As I said, there's a very interesting afternoon for a lot of those Rangers players. Matondo, for instance, Hadji, who's been out a long time, Yilmaz in there as well, the goalkeeper McCrory, which we touched upon. So it'll be interesting to hear the report at half time.
Cantwell seems involved. He's just curled another one past the post. A nice chested layoff from Sakala. If you are just joining us, remember lots of changes for Rangers. Robbie McCrory in goal. No Morelos, no Kent. We know that Tillman's season and maybe Rangers' career is over, so they'll look to try and do something, Hugh. I mean, it's going to be very hard to get the fans too excited about it. I mean, Rod has tweeted he's a Rangers fan saying finding it hard to care at all about the results, and even if it does delay Celtic, it's only by a week. Maybe it would allow them to try and do it again next week. So I suppose, did Rangers just need to get their head down and just try and see out this season?
Yeah, of course, because we know that the version of Rangers we're watching now won't be the Rangers we'll see at the start of next season. But you can't keep talking about big summer and the board have got to back the manager and going on about who will be in and at what price. They have to negotiate their way through these last 5 games. If it's a draw at Tynecastle and a draw at Ibrox today, as things stand at the moment, Celtic are the champions. So that's always a watershed moment. So the fans are looking for some sign of life, basically. They haven't been impressed by the last couple of weeks. So the manager, I think, is bending in the wind a little. I think he's making changes that he knows will appeal to the crowd, but he has to back that up with a result.
But again, Gordon, it is an easy time to do that, because the guys that have come out of the team haven't been getting results. You're not dropping in form Alfredo Morelos to randomly play Fashion Sakala. Nobody. And we don't agree on much here. I don't think you would find any Rangers fan who went to that game, picked up that team sheet and went, I can't believe he's made these changes. There just won't be any of them.
No, I think what he's doing, you're right. I think he just wants to get to summer, but I agree with you, there's still a lot of football. If it doesn't go right for Celtic today, the one thing that Rangers don't want is with 50,000 in at Ibrox, Celtic come win the title at Ibrox next week. So there's still massive games to be played. But he's looking at next season. He's looking at these players. Give them a run of games. Let's see what they can do. He already knows that the ones that are probably got to be exiting Ibrox, he knows that he has to go and refresh. I think it's a massive rebuilding job for him. I really do. I think he needs to bring in some quality. But I still agree with Hugh's saying there. As much as everybody, Rangers fans, are tweeting in saying, look, we've switched off, I totally understand that. But when you play with a club the size of Rangers, you've still got to get results.
I don't think Robbie McCrory's been tested too often yet, so it's hard to get an update on his progress. What about at Tynecastle, Andrew McLean? What's Stephen Naismith's managerial style? He was fairly chirpy, and that's an understatement as a player. Was he losing the rag at that red card, or quickly just looking to the bench to see what the solution was?
Yeah, I mean, he certainly wasn't happy. You should have seen the reaction from both dugouts when initially the yellow card came out. You looked down at Ange Postecoglou and he had his sort of hands on both cheeks. He couldn't quite believe, I think, that a yellow card had been given initially. We then see Nick Walsh go over to the screen, comes back, issues the red card, and Stephen Naismith was straight over at the fourth official making his case because he didn't feel that it should have been a red card, but he's been, up and down the touchline all game. That is his style. I saw Hearts in his first game in charge against Hibs, and he's really active on that touchline. He's shouting at his players all the time, and yeah, he was, speaking to the fourth official, making the case, saying why he didn't feel it was a red card, but then he needs to turn to his bench and make that change, and he did make that change. Stephen Kingsley came on for Yataro Oda to fill in that left back spot that had been vacated by Alex Cochrane, who had been sent off. But he's certainly got a big task now, because I've actually been really impressed by Hearts, certainly in the early stages of this game, because they were actually doing a lot of what you normally expect to see Celtic doing. There was relentless pressing for them, they were tireless all over the pitch, they were doing well just to unsettle Ange Postecoglou's side. And Celtic were quite slack at times. You do wonder whether there was maybe any nerves settling in just because of how big this day could be for Celtic in terms of wrapping up the title, or whether it was just a case of Hearts forcing them into mistakes, possibly a mixture of both. But I can't imagine there will be too many changes at half time for either side. Both sets of players still out warming up at the moment, the substitutes, but I will let you know if there is to be any changes. The players still to make their way out the tunnel. In fact, Callum McGregor is leading Celtic out the tunnel at the moment, so I can give you an update on that. But I think all 8 of Celtic's outfield substitutes were warming up, so it will be the same as the starting 11 for them. Just waiting for Hearts, of course, as I said, a strange second half for them, because they would have been really happy with a lot of the elements of that first half, but they've now got a big task. You look at some of the battles out there as well. James Hill especially, Dyson Maeda is normally all over the pitch running tirelessly. I think James Hill's done really well to stick to him, follow him everywhere, really limit him as well. I think the high press from Hearts as well has unsettled Yuki Kobayashi. He hasn't made too many appearances for Celtic, certainly not many starts either. It's a big atmosphere to be thrown into, and I think Hearts have done well to unsettle him at times. But there will be a different dynamic, there should be a different dynamic to this second half, and maybe Celtic's tails will be up knowing that they're up against the 10 men of Hearts now. And it has been the Hearts fans that have been making the most noise in this stadium so far. The Celtic fans, maybe they've had a bit of nerves as well, despite the fact that we all expect Celtic to wrap up the title at some point in the next few games. They'd like to see it done today, because they're the ones here in the stadium. I'm sure they'll be full of noise in this second half as they cheer their side, and they'll be hoping they can get it over the line. Matt O'Reilly is standing over the ball at the moment, and we are underway for the second half.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard. Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements. Buy now, pay nothing till 2024.
So Celtic have 45 minutes to try and maintain control of their own destiny today. A win at Tynecastle, that wins the title no matter what happens at Ibrox. There is of course that strange series of events that if Celtic drop points, they'll then wait another 45 minutes, and if Rangers drop points, Celtic would be champions anyway. But let's just, for entertainment's sake, hope that it's a bit more straightforward than that.
And I think there will be plenty of entertainment. Another Celtic pass out of the ground that they have been, and that's from Kobayashi. They have been guilty of that the whole day long. For some reason they just look out of sorts, rattled, and I think that 10-man Hearts still have a chance of winning this game, not settling for a draw, not trying to shut up shop. I think Hearts still have a chance of winning.
I think you've got to give the Celtic defender a little bit of slack here. He's not played a lot of football. Is he giving the ball away needlessly? Yes, he has. He's been slack, but I think that it's game time he needs a bit of sharpness, a bit of game time back into side. He's obviously got to get that with Carter Vickers been out the rest of the season. So I think we've just got to cut them a little bit slack. But I think Celtic will be looking for an improvement second half. I thought Hearts were excellent without creating anything, but against 10 men.
Yeah, still goalless at Ibrox as well. Rangers 0, Aberdeen 0. Aberdeen coming into it a bit more in a counter-attacking sense. Duke, he's had a wonderful season. He's showing a lot of promise down that left-hand side. He actually went down with an injury a couple of moments ago as well, but he's back up and playing on. And a mark in the modern day, how refreshing is it? Oh, big chance for Aberdeen, and a good save, Robbie McCrory. First time we've really had to see him called into action. A counter-attack cut across to Duke, and McCrory saves it with the legs. So almost an opener for Aberdeen.
Well, there you go. I says McCrory, it's a good game for him to come in, because he would get tested against an Aberdeen side who put Rangers under pressure a couple of weeks back. So when called upon, he's done his job, and that's exactly what Michael Beale will want to see. He'll want to see if his goalkeeper's up to the task. Maybe not number one, but capable of challenging and pushing a new number one all the way next season.
Yeah, I like the fact that he's given the opportunity. The lad's played in big games before. He's obviously played in the Celtic one at Ibrox and didn't let himself down. And I'll do his confidence a world of good. I don't think that Michael Beale will be happy with it, but it's good for a goalkeeper.
It's a good save. It's a smart stop. It's not an award winner, just to paint the picture. I don't want anyone thinking it's ludicrously impressive, but I think it's definitely one that he would deserve plaudits for. I think the pass from Miovski is just too heavy. It just takes Duke away to an angle that he doesn't want to be at. And
you talk about the Rangers, what Michael Beale was going to do today. What I think he's done is he's changed the formation a little bit. I think he's went with a diamond in the middle of the park, Matondo and Sakala up top with a bit of pace to trouble Aberdeen in behind. So as much as everybody's asking for personnel change, I think he's tweaked the system as well.
Yeah, Aberdeen enjoying their best period for sure. When the corner came in after that, it was headed back across, but McCrory able to just come and gather it fairly easily. So it's heating up nicely at Ibrox. Maybe a bit of a slow opening 20-25 minutes. Hopefully we're getting some more action at Tynecastle. 49 gone, 10 man, Hearts 0, Celtic 0, and not created anything, but certainly but it's a more front foot start to the half, as you would expect now with the man advantage.
There was a header over from Maeda, but I mean, throwing crosses over to Maeda not going to really get you many places. I think Celtic, a classic case of stage fright, and they have had it all day long. Everyone expected them to go to Tynecastle and that would be the title won, etc., and they haven't delivered.
Yeah, only 4 minutes into the second half, of course, so let's see how the game plays out with that man disadvantage, because we didn't really get the chance to assess it at the end of the first half. There's a dinked ball in, it's a nice one, it's over the head, and it would have been an absolutely stunning opener from Rio Hatate on the first touch, dropping over his shoulder. He lifts it over the head of Xander Clark, but he was at a tight angle and the ball just drifts past the post.
I'm thinking that's going to end up in the back end. If there's any player on that pitch you want that to go to, it's him. He looks up, he knows exactly what he's doing, he knows what he wants to do with it. It's a great run. He's killed the midfield player. Is it Haring? It's marking him. He's absolutely killed him, and it's a great ball over the top. Very unlucky. Better from Celtic.
Technically brilliant there from Hatate, because Daz is right. He looks up, he sees the Hearts goalkeeper where he is, he knows exactly what he's doing. To get that controlled when it's dropping over your shoulder, that's very difficult to do. Just inches past. Much better from Celtic on that occasion.
Kobayashi just very overly keen there on Josh Ginnelly. I don't think he had to try and make that tackle, and he does, and he gives away a free kick down by the corner flag.
Has he been booked, Kobayashi?
I don't think so.
No, it was a Riley in the first half. It was booked for Celtic, but that's careless. Doesn't he need to do that? Just gets too tight, maybe.
There's no doubt the lad's struggling a little bit. His passing's been poor. He came into this game, everybody was talking, he's composed on the ball, he's got a lovely left foot, But I keep going back to he needs time to settle into the pace of the game. He's not had a lot of game time. He's playing with Starfelt on the right hand side. You know, you've got Ralston, who's not had a lot of game time, playing the right hand side. So it takes a bit of time. But Hearts are starting to look at that and think we maybe capitalise.
Yeah, I mean, set pieces you would imagine will be Hearts' biggest threat, because it's to state the obvious, it's the area of the game where the man disadvantage doesn't necessarily come into play as much.
And they've got a lot of big lads on their side there.
A little bit of pushing and shoving at Ibrox. Cantwell pushes Liam Scales over after a challenge that he didn't like.
Is this Hill coming over from the right back position? Is he playing left back now?
No, he's gone over. He's gone over
He's
the other
gone
side
over,
to take a throw in.
certainly
He could
looking
actually
at
clear Joe Hart here.
He's got a nice maroon towel that he's drying the ball with, and he launches it in. It's headed, not clear, but it's headed by Carl Starfelt.
The 10 men are doing okay.
Yeah, like we said, it's just set pieces, isn't it, Mark? Because it allows you just to put balls in and second balls.
Well,
and
every
pressure.
throw in is a set piece for Hearts now, when you've got somebody like Hill who can just put it in from 30 yards out. So they're going to have to utilise that.
Cantwell and Clarkson booked.
Oh, O'Reilly's
O'Reilly was living dangerously
in the first half, and he's just gave away a foul there.
Yeah, Stephen Naismith wants a second yellow. I mean, in truth, it's not one.
That's not yellow.
No, it's not.
He's actually pulled out of that. He's
not even. Yeah, it's not even that, because you look at.
It's not booking.
It's stopping a promising attack and so on. These are the most likely when midfielders are breaking. But what he will probably have to do is either be taken off though, or be careful.
Yeah,
it's been largely ineffective anyway. Apart from that ball through to Hatate, not really done much.
See, I look. You spoke about a guy earlier about his performance against Rangers, how poor he was. I think this could be tailor-made for Aaron Moy this afternoon.
Yeah,
against 10 men, his ability to find the passes and get on the ball and dictate it. Because you're right, O'Reilly is walking a tight line now. He might just look at that substitution, but also he's got
tight rope.
Tight rope. Is that tight?
No, just.
I like the line. I like the line rather than the rope. It's always straighter.
I think Aaron Moy and Abada, because in the wide positions there's nothing coming from Maeda or Jota, and the 10 men of Hearts look as if they would get 11, and Celtic with 11 look as if they would get 10.
Todd Cantwell's booking, I wonder if he was taking a chance. It was fairly aggressive.
Well, it was
the shove on Liam Scales.
Liam Scales got a yellow card as well for it, which I don't know why he's got a yellow
sure.
card.
Cantwell and Clarkson certainly did.
Dear me.
The ball just goes under the foot of Jota. Celtic could do with the old substitutions now, couldn't they? Just freshen up.
but Ange Postecoglou, when we're all standing going, well, it'll not be long before the substitutions come, he tends to just play it very calm. He knows what he's doing, he's in control. But I think everybody's looking, get some substitutions on, liven this game up a bit, get a bit more width. If we're against 10 men. But listen, how many times we argued against this guy? This guy knows how to do it.
Duke is causing Connor Goldson a few issues because he's strong running in behind, and there's a bit of a strange one there where Duke had gone beyond him, and if Duke had kind of gone down and stayed down, I think he would definitely have.
That's unbelievable.
Got a free kick, and I think Goldson would have been booked for it. So
Duke managed to wriggle inside him. Goldson's lost him. Goldson's got two hands round Duke's waist, pulls him down, but Duke just gets up and gets on with it. A strange decision that for me.
A modern day goal scoring winger who wears copas on his feet. That's what I like about Duke. Mark Wilson. No frills with this guy.
He's a good player, and that's a big job for Barry Robson, keeping him, because no doubt he'll have plenty of interest. He's had a terrific season. I thought that could have been was it right in the line or just inside the box?
I don't think it's inside.
No,
but I'll tell you what, I think Goldson does get away with one. I'll agree with you in that, but I don't think it's inside, Mark.
So interesting game at Ibrox, because remember, if it is to be prolonged, Rangers could really be doing with winning that game as well. I think Peter Haring might get a talking to. He just barged over Rio Hatate, but it was kind of off the ball, so play's just going to go on just now, and Jota's going to try and dance his way into the box. He's had a very quiet afternoon. It's a nice swivel and cross though, a similar area.
I've not seen too much of that from Jota though. Just give him the ball and isolate. Who's he up against now? He's up against Kingsley now on that left hand side, and just leave him to run
like this. He's going to get a second bite at it. He just looks for Hatate, who tries to slide one It's just going to be kept alive out for a throw in now by Hearts. You know, it's a shame as well when you get a big moment like that. Oda, who had looked really bright, he's the one that sacrificed in the first half for Kingsley to come on. Changes your game plan entirely.
He'll be so
it?
disappointed, lad, because he started brightly, you've got to say, but that's a week.
Got the appearance money in the back pocket though.
Well, that's true. There's always a bit of positivity coming off, knowing that you've got it going into the bank on Thursday. But
I think Greg Taylor's attempt there, you know, just a kind of desperate attempt. You know, there's nothing going for Celtic. The over elaborate, just not at it today at all. And now we wait to see who gets the call. Surely Abada, surely Moy.
And yet, it might be a bit early to hammer home the as it stands. Celtic will be champions today unless Rangers can find something at Ibrox.
I think if you're Celtic now, you'd be a bit disappointed if you don't capitalise in 11v10. Hearts, as much as they're putting so much work into it, eventually you've got to tire somewhere along the line. And the quality Celtic have got, the big plus for Hearts today, Celtic's passing has been the worst I've seen for a long time.
Hearts have made a lot of that happen, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean, pressing's been brilliant.
We have had 0 shots on target in this game. Not Celtic or Hearts combined.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Not a single shot on target.
No goalkeeper we've applauded with a good save, which is disappointing because we built this up for such a fantastic game. But Celtic won't be worried about that. And I'll tell you what, near will Stephen Naismith, if he can get a 0-0 here, he'll take that all day.
Absolutely. And then of course he'll be looking to see what happens at Ibrox, to see what Aberdeen do, to see how the league table is going to look. It is that time of the season and I love it. So much drama, things happening all across. We saw that at the bottom yesterday. Dangerous ball, Jota, Alexander Clark's down, so play is going to be stopped. And I think Nick Walsh, I think he now gives a free kick though, but I don't really get.
See, be fair, he takes a sore one.
Absolutely,
He takes a sore one.
I feel like Nick Walsh was happy to let play go on until he saw that.
Oh, that's a sore one. Yeah,
Starfelt into him. Yeah, it's a foul, definitely. The goalkeeper.
I can understand.
Yeah, there's no complaints, I don't think, from Carl Starfelt, who of course got outed live on Sky Sports the other night as being,
I must say,
the partner of Celtic women's player Jacinta. Did you hear this? Did you watch the game?
I watched it, I seen the camera again. I didn't hear it, I just seen the camera focus and maybe just their support.
Because I mean, the Twitter rumour mill had been turning quite frantically for the last couple of months, but to hear it so explicitly broadcast on Sky Sports was quite something.
Man goes out with women. Where's the story here?
Well, it's not that though, is it?
Yes, it is. He's a man, she's a woman.
It's because it's a Celtic. It's because they're two Celtic players. Obviously, would be the story, wouldn't it? Even your level of cynicism would stretch to understand that it's mildly interesting for some people.
No, he met her at his work. I met my wife at work. I signed her on the door.
Sakala nearly nipped in there to score in front of Kelarus, but can't quite provide the finish. So yeah. Anyway, apart from Carl Starfelt's love life, the game's not restarted yet.
Ange Postecoglou would rather he has gone to Tynecastle and Celtic had exhibited the form that's taken them to this point, but he won't care if he gets a late scrappy goal. Of
course not. He won't even care if he has to win it by Rangers dropping points, because
but they
didn't Celtic wrap up the title with a draw at Tannadice last season? No one cares about that stuff when it's all said and done.
But just from a stylistic point of view,
of course,
they have been shabby.
Yeah, I would agree with that, Hugh. It's been flat from Celtic, which is the most surprising thing, you know.
And actually, as what can happen, the sending off sort of kills it, because Hearts they're doing fine, you know, and they're compact and they're making life difficult, but their threats kind of dropped out of it, hasn't it? Until of course, you know, they can always load the box, they can give a long throw or a free kick, which gives the sort of illusion of being in the game, but it's not the same as what they were doing in the first half.
Well, they've changed it with Ginnelly coming out to this right hand side and Shankland through the middle now, where Daz was talking about before, but there's no out ball. You know, with Ginnelly through the middle, at least you had a threat in behind.
Pace.
It's been taken away now, and it's just going to, I think the next half hour is just going to be wave after wave.
Because even there, Celtic try and probe through all 10 Hearts players, 9 outfield players of course. Hearts nip it back, try to break, but just pass it out the pitch. It's going to be tough for Hearts to.
Oh, it's going to be tough, but they've just got to work in the two banks.
Sakala nearly in again, shut down by Kelarus. Sorry, Gordon.
Two banks of 4, and obviously Shankland through the middle. But you're right, Gordon. Well, they're still 0-0, and they've got that, you know, Hill throw in. They've got set play. they'll be happy. They'll just settle in there and make it very difficult. They know Celtic aren't at their sharpest, not at their best with their passing, but I think the big scenario will be when
Kobayashi has had a really tough afternoon. I'll tell you what, because I'm surprised he's not gone into the book here, because Lawrence Shankland spins him, and then Kobayashi tries to pull him back. Well, does pull him back, so the ref gives the free kick. Is that
should be a booking?
I'm very surprised.
Should
at that.
be a booking for Kobayashi. Shankland does brilliant there though to get that ball under control and spin Kobayashi.
One of the most frustrating myths I think in Scottish football is that Lawrence Shankland's just some sort of 6-yard player that scores tap-ins. So much to his game.
Yeah. Here comes the first goal.
Hugh, you have not got a prediction right in 40 years, so I'm not sure. As the ball is obviously cleared. As soon as Hugh said that, you knew the ball was going to be cleared, and it's a free kick to Celtic on the edge of the box.
Rod loves a try.
You just got to say that every time. It's a free kick. Here comes the first goal.
It has to be said, two similar games in that I don't think we're really setting the heather alight.
Yeah, I thought we'd get a super Sunday. We've just got a Sunday.
Ridvan Yilmaz has been a bit of a brighter spark for Rangers. Sakala's tried to get in a couple of times, but they can't find the final ball. Celtic can't find the final ball, and goalless in both. But remember, we are 45 minutes behind at Ibrox, so we're approaching half time in that one. We're past the hour mark at Tynecastle, and I have to say, next to nothing has happened in the second half. Good chance for Hattati. Would have been a wonder goal if he'd lobbed it over Xander Clark successfully, but that aside, no chances for Hearts, one sniff for Celtic, and on we go.
It's getting played like an end of season game. Like everything's wrapped up.
Look how many bodies though. I mean, nearly every body on the pitch is inside that Hearts attacking third.
But
there is no
Celtic
space.
can still move the ball quicker. I'm seeing Starfelt there practically coming to a standstill with the ball, and you think, look, you need to kind of up the tempo a wee bit if they're going to break those lines.
I think James Hill forget his throw-ins, but he's done well against Maeda, hasn't he?
Yeah, I think he's done very well.
Does Maeda need to do more though to try and commit him, just try and run him,
I think Hill's pretty quick as well. I think he fancies his chances.
Biggest Sakala chance yet. We know he missed chances at Pittodrie when these sides met. He's 1-on-1. It's a great flick from Matondo, but he smashes it straight at the goalkeeper. And yes, he may well go on and score a couple today, but that's the bit of Fashion Sakala's game that frustrates people. Gordon, has he got that quality when you really need to make moments count?
The answer to that's no, he's not got the quality of that. He is a threat, Gordon. He works very hard for his side. He's got good pace, but he just doesn't have that killer instinct for me.
I'm not sure it goes into complete sitter mode category. It's a little bit in the angle. He actually catches it okay.
I think
that's. I think we're maybe being a little bit harsh on him. So
he's had a couple of the same today, and Roos has been there to do his job. But this Sakala can't play through the middle. Well, I've watched him now for the best part of 40 minutes, and he's leading the line okay, the finishing touch, the most important part, maybe not there, but in terms of getting in behind and a relationship with Matondo and Hadji.
What a chance for Aberdeen. Duke straight through. It looked like it was in the back of the net. He dinked McCrory, and then it dropped just over the bar. This one is lively. Rangers so easily cut open though. Michael Beale will not enjoy seeing that one back. He'll enjoy the ball dropping over the crossbar though. That's about as close as we've come to an opener at Ibrox. Duke has had a couple of chances, and that one was very close indeed. Just so dangerous, isn't he?
At Tynecastle, how long can Ange Postecoglou look at this before he makes a change?
Yeah, he'll do it soon. Celtic getting more and more territory, more and more possession, but no cutting edge at all. And I'll tell you, I actually think it's poor from Duke. It's not a delicate dink actually. I gave that too much of a build up.
See that for me. That's
way over the bar.
That looks a bit showboating for me. I think
it's not wrong to try and dink the
goalie.
I
think he's got
to get it right.
Was it his debut this season? He scored one at Pittodrie where he ran through and he dinked the goalie.
The one at Tannadice was but I think he's got a great opportunity with his pace. Just knock that to the side, and I think he scores. I really do think he scores.
I think it's horrendous from Rangers' point of view though. How high Goldson and Davies were maybe 15 yards inside the Aberdeen half, and Duke's just standing the halfway line. Poor defender.
See, here we have it. Celtic and Rangers, two bad lots.
65 gone at Tynecastle. Maeda can't keep that one in. No subs called over yet, just 5 warming up at the moment.
It is by a distance the worst that Celtic have played since they lost to Livingston last season.
Since Motherwell a couple of weeks ago.
St Mirren.
What about Motherwell a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah, you weren't happy with that performance.
No. You don't need,
That was I'm just telling you, this is.
I think this is worse than that day.
Yeah.
At home, Celtic Park.
Where I think
tough place to go.
Where I think you've disappointed both sides is not been a shot really. That's
there has still been none on target from either side.
Yeah, that's a disappointing side of it. That front three that we usually talk so highly of, Celtic's front three, not made a great impact at all in this game.
66 gone. We know Celtic generally find a way, and to keep repeating ourselves, remember there is that scenario they don't even have to win today depending on what Rangers do, but we've got a bit to go there. And just approaching half time, someone's down injured, so there's one of those unofficial water breaks as the players just gather their thoughts, but we won't be far away from the interval there. It's a good cut out by Cammy Devlin just to stop Celtic. What you would say, Gordon, is although there's still nothing meaningful. It's got hold on. Hatate's in. If he can just square it, and it's in the back of the net at Tynecastle. We've got the opening goal.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
And that is what they do. They find a way, and Celtic have one hand on the Premiership trophy. It's down the right hand side. It's devastating. It's squared across, and who else but Kyogo, top scorer this season. It's a brilliant run by Reo Hatate. A delicate ball over the top. He squares it, and you just know the outcome. It wriggles past Xander Clark, and it's Hearts 0, Celtic 1.
I'll tell you what, you talk about the run. McGregor's weighted ball in the first half, every ball had ran on, and it was but he's weighted up brilliant. What a great run from Hatate, head up, and Kyogo front post run, kills the defender. When he puts his by Xander Clark, for a minute I don't know if he knows it's in the back of the net, but you talk about he's not had an impact in the game, and all of a sudden the ball across the box, he comes alive.
I said to you in the first half, he doesn't need to be involved all the time, because one kick from him might be enough. It's not assured that it will be enough 1-0, but that's his 30th goal of the season. That for me is why he'll get Player of the Year.
Something quite fitting, Mark, about the goal that might wrap up the title being one that is just absolutely typical of how Celtic attack this season. How many tap-ins do they score? Because they deserve it and they carve out those opportunities.
By design, it's not by luck.
I think he's going off as well.
He's taking off, but created by the two best players of the season. Great run from Hatate. You look at Harren's pointing to somebody else to pick him up.
Is it another shoulder injury for Kyogo?
No, I think it's his wrist.
Yeah, he looks like his wrist.
I think the way he fell after scoring.
Right, Celtic are 1 up. They will win the title as things stand for sure. It's half time at Ibrox. Gabriel.
Yes, 0-0 here at the interval between Rangers and Aberdeen. The hosts have been in control of the game, but the Dons have threatened on the break, the scores remaining goalless. Now, Rangers had all the ball early on, the Dons hardly touching it in the first 10 minutes. Ravi Matondo started brightly on the left-hand side of the attack. Nikola Raskin making some nice passes, and Yilmaz seeing plenty of the ball at left-back as well, doing well with it. First chance came to Todd Cantwell, who blazed over from 20 yards early on, before just curling it inches past the post after a nice layoff from Sakala's chest. Duncan and Miovski, though, the two Aberdeen forwards, started to get into the game and threaten on the counter-attack. First of all, Miovski broke through far too easily. He cut the ball across to his strike partner, but he was a bit too heavy with the pass. Duke's strike called a big save from Robbie McCrory. He got down well to save with his legs. It's the first time he was called into action all day, and suddenly it was more of a game here. Duke was called in Goldson, all kinds of problems, and in the final 5 minutes of the half it totally livened up. Fashion Sakala had 3 chances. He nearly nipped in first of all to head past Roos, but the keeper did get a hand on it to send it over. 2 minutes later, another opportunity for him, but he was shut down by the Don stopper as he looked like he might just slip in. Finally came his best chance, a lovely flick through from Matondo, a similar position to the previous opportunity, but he just smashed it at the keeper when a bit more finesse or composure, and he could have found the bottom corner. But then suddenly at the other end, Duke was through so easy, the Rangers defence nowhere, and for some reason, with the Portuguese forward racing through, he decided to dink it from 25 yards, and it went over the bar. He had to do better, and that was the biggest chance of the game. Rangers just can't quite find the final ball. It's been a theme here all season, but they've got to watch it on the counter-attack. The Don shape is good defensively. They are hard to break down. They've got those pacey attackers. As I said, Gordon, much more to do for Rangers here. As the players went in, a few murmurs, 0-0 at the interval, and much more to come in the second half.
Yeah, elaborate on that for me. What's the feeling like at Ibrox, Gabriel? Because we've been taking the temperature all week on the phones. Lots of fans almost want to see the back of this season. They've got changes today. What's it been like?
Well, there was that anticipation a few seconds after John Beaton blew his whistle, where a few people were expecting boos or just listening to see if there would be any. Now, there weren't boos, and we have heard them here, especially when Giovanni Van Bronckhorst was in charge 6 months ago, but it was a few murmurs, Gordon. They want to see more from this team. They will be happy with some of the players they've seen. As I said, Rid van Yilmaz has done well, but they've just got to see more in terms of attacking outlets. They've got to be scoring goals against this Aberdeen side. Don't forget, this is a Don side that beat them 2 weeks ago. Rangers, I mean, they've been in control of it, but they just cannot find the final pass, and for the first time in a while looks so suspect with Goldson and Davies. Goldson getting the runaround from Duke. You hardly ever see that in the Premiership. And I have to say as well, Ben Davies came off, we're not sure what it was, but he just pulled up in stoppage time there. John Suter is on. Perhaps again that could be a nod to what we might see next season with Suter returning to fitness. But yeah, all to play for in the second half.
As things stand, the most annoying phrase at this time of the season, not only will Celtic win the title, they'll actually stretch their lead, but we are behind at Ibrox. So Rangers have got 45 minutes to fix it, and both teams have had chances. Gordon, you look at Sakala certainly, and Duke has had some very interesting opportunities up the other end.
Yeah, very surprised it's went in at 0-0. I think they've been not half chances, very good chances, especially Duke, especially the form and the sort of appraise that he's been getting lately. I fancied him strongly to score for Aberdeen. Shows they're a threat there. Obviously it'll be interesting to see how that partnership of Golson and Shooter develop, because I think Mark was saying yesterday he'd like to see that. You know, he feels that that's a better partnership than Davies. So he's went off injured, and but interesting. Next, the goal at Ibrox has got to be really interesting. Yes, the crowd's sitting there 0-0. Rangers probably in command of the game. But if Aberdeen had to get it, I think there'd be a change in mood at Ibrox Stadium.
That's sort of the key, Mark. If you are a team like Aberdeen going to Ibrox, we know everybody will try and soak up pressure to a point, but the teams that eventually doesn't work for are the ones that don't have anything up the pitch. You know, it doesn't get you up the pitch, so eventually Rangers will wear you down. But in someone like Duke, Aberdeen do at times manage to strike that balance.
Yeah, they carry a threat. When you've got his pace and creativity up front, he must be a nightmare for the defenders to play against. Goldson having a particularly hard day against him. But Michael Beale wants his backline to play high up the pitch. He wants his centre halves to be high up the pitch into the opposition territory. But if you leave Duke on that halfway line, more often than not he'll punish it. I think Rangers have been let off the hook with a couple of his chances, and at the other end you could argue, I think Sakala's leading the line okay, but he's just not got that finishing touch, which is all important.
And this is where the mood is always interesting, Hugh, because every Rangers fan who went to Ibrox today accepted that Celtic were going to win the league anyway.
Yep.
Right? There are no surprises there. But if Celtic kick on and win this, Rangers don't get beyond Aberdeen today, everybody can tweet away that they don't care about results, but they will let Michael Beale and those players know at full time, won't they?
Of course they will. Fans reserve the right to be motivated by what's going on either at their game or another one that they are interested in, and they will not be happy if they hear that Celtic have beaten Hearts and have become champions and Rangers haven't scored a goal, and Rangers have been living on their luck because Aberdeen might have scored a goal. So yeah, they'll reserve their right to take it out on Michael Beale and everybody else, any passer-by, and we'll get it here at 5 o'clock.
There is still a full 45 minutes to go. You'd be forgiven for forgetting that because of the different schedules today. We have had a few changes at Tynecastle that I meant to tell you about. So latest one there was Keogh on for Devlin for the hosts. I can see Aaron Moy and O did come on for he came on for Kyogo when he hurt his wrist. And did Aaron Moy replace O'Reilly?
Yep.
So there we are. I think Hatate's boot has just come off in the
Hill just throws and stands in his heel accidentally, you would think. Or is there more than that? I like those boots. Look at those white, old white Mizunos. Can I be?
You got to be a player. You
I would wear them.
No,
Yeah,
no.
I would wear them.
You stick to the black ones.
Anyway, it's Hearts 0, Celtic 1. Hearts have been down to 10 men since the first half, and Celtic huffed and puffed for spells, long spells actually, but a quality goal to find the breakthrough. It is Kyogo. He's the top scorer. He's probably going to win Player of the Year this time next week, in fact.
We were chatting about it yesterday. He scored the big goals in big games. He's been virtually anonymous for this full game, but again, it's going to be his goal that gets the job done.
This guy, honestly, dies in Maida, and his 6 lungs have just dragged Lawrence Shanklin back when Shanklin thought he was in. Takes it off his toe, sets Celtic away, and he's arriving at the edge of the opposition box now to try and get involved in an attacking sense. That's a lovely flick.
Wonder what his score in the bleep test is pre-season. Be good to see that. If we can run the tape out.
You would have to imagine so, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Who were the best that you played with in at that type of thing?
Paul Telfer.
Oh, that's right.
One of the fittest players I've ever seen.
Tell you who's having a weird day, Jota.
Yeah.
It's just nothing's coming off for him, is it? He's just sliced up. I was going to say sliced a shot pass, but I don't think it was. I think it was a pass.
He tried to whip that across the box, come off his heel. It's not the best. We'll be looking to get a goal here this afternoon. But it's interesting. You wonder if you maybe be looking at more substitutions, Celtic, just to freshen up again.
Well, Haksabanovic and Abada are both coming on now, so I think Maeda and Jota will come off.
Did you see him a moment or two ago when the camera panned to the dugout and you could see Andy Halliday in the background?
Yeah.
What about his hair?
Yeah.
I know the old transplant, we've been keeping everyone up to speed on it, but it's
that
a bit of miracle growing the top.
It's magnificent.
Govan Boy has sent me a picture likening him to, have you ever seen Step Brothers? Is it Dale? Which one's Dale? Is Dale the one with the afro? I suppose Will Ferrell's got curly hair as well, but he says Andy Halliday away to the Catalina wine mixer. He's got a picture of the
Oh, that's brilliant. That's very much like him.
Does Andy Halliday play the drums?
Oh,
want to perhaps leave out
can
of a family show.
Can I say the name of the
Turkey
the band?
Holidays obviously paid benefits.
I'm going to guess you've never seen Step Brothers, Hugh, no?
No.
It's a
no idea
fantastic
what you're
watch.
talking
You're more of a
about.
Casablanca man.
Oh yeah.
Give Step Brothers a watch.
He would have it off within 3.5 minutes, I think.
Great defending.
Yep.
Yeah, and the chance for Celtic just to put it beyond all doubt. There's always a chance, but when it's 1 but Hearts are down to 10, we've not really seen them venture forward at all recently. And that was a curling ball, and it was just begging to be headed in, but excellent defending. Here come further reinforcements. Jota, it's been a tough afternoon for him. I think Dyson Maeda as well, and it's going to be Abada and Haksabanovic coming on for Celtic, who are closing in on the Premiership title.
Well, Abada hasn't been seen for a few weeks, and such an important player for Celtic. He'll be looking to make an instant impact. But I know you're right in what you say, Gordon, that the Hearts haven't imposed themselves, but I would not rule them out entirely because they're still capable of getting forward.
No, neither would I. It would have to. It's looking increasingly like it would have to come out of nothing. I think, of course, you can.
I'd be honest here and think that if there's got to be a goal, I think Celtic has got to tie this up.
Yeah, it's looking like one-way traffic currently.
Yeah, I
but
think
you
they're
never do know.
up. Obviously there's always a chance, but I just think with a bit of fresh legs on the pitch.
Callum McGregor, that one was hit and it was well blocked by Kai Rolls, but it allows Moy just to pick something at such a congested penalty box. But it's no surprise that you can't find a pass. So many maroon jerseys in there, and it was bound to happen to a point, Mark, because of the man disadvantage, and we can get Stephen Naismith's take on it later. But it now is that sort of attack v defence. Not to say that the attack is ripping through it at will, far from it, but it's in terms of territory.
Yeah.
Put it this way.
And
we've got a second at Tynecastle.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
Oh, indeed. Knee slide from the South Korean. It's Hearts 0, Celtic 2, and that title is about to be won by Ange Postecoglou. It's a round of applause from him. Oh, takes the acclaim of Haksabanovic, Callum McGregor, and the Celtic fans behind the goal. They know it's almost party time. 10 minutes to go. Hearts 0, Celtic 2.
Brilliant goal. Have you seen the first goal? Substitute Hatate and Kyogo for, is it Moy? And because it's pretty similar, get into that area and behind. Moy gets his head up, puts it across,
That's
and
really
it's
well
a
worked,
good finish from Daz just said it moments ago, he'll want a goal. He's exactly where you want your striker to be. 6-yard box.
Do you know what I like about him? He's the one that's winning that. The defender's with him. He's strong. He gets in front of the defender. Aaron Moy, I touched on it earlier. It was tailor-made for him to come on. He took a lot of criticism against Rangers at Celtic Park. It's a great run. He looks up and is just saying, put that in that space for me and I'm going to end this game.
I'd imagine what encourages Ange Postecoglou there, Mark, is Kyogo has to go off and comes on and finds himself in exactly the position that Kyogo would have been in to put that one in the back of the net.
By design, said that, Gordon. They must work in it endlessly in training, getting into those areas and then, making the yards up in the box, having your main striker in there and other bodies making it up. So it's pretty simple for Hatate and Moy. They know they've got guys running in there. Terrific finish from Mo.
Party time for Celtic, Hugh.
Yeah, the title's won now. Again, this will reverberate around Ibrox and increase the pressure on Rangers to get the goal, because people must be satisfied. They must come away from the game with some form of encouragement. But congratulations to Ange Postecoglou and to these Celtic players. Kyogo, 30 goals. He gets the one that sets the ball rolling.
50 for the club, I believe, today.
And 50 goals
for Kyogo, it's 50th Celtic goal.
Well, of all the signings that Ange Postecoglou made, the first one was the most important. That was Kyogo, because if you're a 50 goal striker, he really is the difference. And Kyogo has been sensational as a Celtic player. So again, the performance today might not be from the top drawer, but it doesn't matter. The league is won, and it wasn't won today, it was won in the 33 games leading up to today. So you have to say that Celtic, as Tynecastle looks as if it's emptying at a ferocious rate, you have to say that Celtic are deserved champions.
You know what's impressed me this season, sorry Gordon, about Celtic, is once again today it happens. When he makes his substitutions, there's an impact. The second goal there, it really puts this game to bed. Moy goes into the box, looks up, finds both started on the bench this afternoon. That's been a trend all season for Celtic. They're absolutely brilliant at it.
And again, Mark, to bring it back to that night, Ange Postecoglou's first league game at Tynecastle, Kyogo come on, 10 minutes to go. It was his Celtic debut, and probably people did what we do here. I don't know about him. Is he going to be a bit lightweight? Tynecastle, I didn't see much there. And you think, the guy's just off a plane, new country, new style, new life, 10 minutes on the pitch. And for him to return here today, a couple of years on, and wrap up the title for Celtic, sums up his contribution.
Yeah, quite fitting. After that game, it didn't take too long to get up and running, though, and he's been magnificent ever since. Daz is right. The signings.
Haksabanovic lines up a third. He usually catches them cleaner than that, but saved by Xander Clark.
Yeah, every one of his signings has almost done the job required, what he brought them in. And with Kyogo, Ange Postecoglou said that he was the one he wanted right away, because he knew what a goal scorer he was and how much work he puts in for the team. And he's done that, 50 goals within 18 months, some going that.
One behind Moussa Dembele's Celtic total, but he's done it in 77 games compared to Dembele's 94.
There's no question
the type of trajectory he's on.
There's no question that Hatate's a wonderful player. Maeda, phenomenal energy. Jota when he's at himself, etc, etc, etc. But Kyogo with 50 goals, he is what you really need. He was the first signing, and he is the best signing.
Yeah, your chance to stick up for goal scorers everywhere, Gordon. It's all well and good, but you need that guy to provide the finishing touch, and he does it so often.
It's a massive difference in football. It's all about scoring goals. It's all about putting the ball in the back of the net. The thing I like about him is you can stand here, and even as a manager, opposition manager, you're thinking Kyogo's not done a lot today, we've got him, he's not caused us any problems, and then when that ball goes in the box, bang, he comes alive.
Iwata is going to come on for Rio Hitati as well. Back underway at Ibrox, goalless there. I can see it being described in various corners of social media as just end the season stuff, which at this stage is obviously not where you want to be, but the damage was already done. It's not going to come down to what happens at Ibrox today, but you never know, maybe we'll get some goalmouth action that actually leads to the breakthrough in the second half.
Well, it won't be end of season next weekend because Michael Beale can't afford to lose to Celtic again. So I think that the end of the season's a bit of an endurance test for Michael Beale, but he has to plough on, keep going, because people won't just walk away and say, oh well, I'll come back in August.
Now you probably get a couple of % more understanding once the league's done. Some people will write it off, but you take Hugh's point, the rivalry's still going to be there next week.
100%
for sure. But you might get the odd one who thinks I'm done, I've logged out sort of thing, and even a defeat next week can't make me feel any worse.
They may kid themselves on that, I don't really care if Celtic come to Ibrox and beat us, the season's over with, but deep down inside they do care, let's be honest about it. Michael Beale, I think's got to, as much as everybody, and I'm one that said he's going to get the summer to rebuild, and it is a big rebuilding job, but he's still got to start, he's still got to keep picking up points. He's got Aberdeen second half at Ibrox, he's got to try and win that game. He's got Celtic next week, and then he goes away to Easter Road, so it's a difficult 2.5 games.
You know what, I played in exactly the same scenario for Celtic back in 2009 season maybe. Tony Mowbray had left, Neil Lennon got the job on an interim basis, 6 games to go or something. One of those games was against Rangers at Celtic Park, and Rangers had won the league. Tell you what, it wasn't meaningless when we played them that night. We won that night, and it meant something to us as players. So these games, although there's nothing for Rangers to grasp on in terms of silverware or keeping the league alive, it still means a lot. So it'll be a different occasion next week than what we're seeing today.
Tynecastle's emptying, because if you're a Hearts fan, I don't suppose you're desperate to stay and watch Celtic's title celebrations, and it's not as big an allocation as it used to be. So that lucky small band of Celtic fans who've managed to get a ticket for the away end, they are the ones that will enjoy their afternoon in person.
1,246.
I hope everybody made it, because otherwise you're going to be worn out. Sakala's just hit the bar from inside 6 yards. Good work again by Matondo. So there are signs there that attacking setup from Rangers today has got the potential, but there's that finishing touch that they're looking for, and often fashion Sakala struggles with that part of it.
It's a big bit of his game that lets him down. It really is. I've got to say, he gets his cell into good positions, but you've got to start getting a bigger percentage of them and put them away.
O's taking a sore one on the back of the head. He's no hurry to get back up. He's taking a bit of a dunt. I think it was Peter Haring. He looks in a bit of discomfort, but he's a hardy.
He's a big lad,
a hardy boy, as they say.
I don't think he minds that.
Mark Wilson's a goal away from a perfect prediction.
Did you go 3?
3, yeah, I'm still in the running.
I actually think, you know what, it
Johnny
wasn't
Hayes.
it wasn't Sakala that hits the bar. It would have been an own goal from Aberdeen's perspective, so they got away with it on that occasion.
Well, if Aberdeen can get a draw at Ibrox, it's a 6-point advantage over Hearts for third place, and that could very well be it. So it's a good point. A big finish to the game for Barry Robson.
Yeah, that's true. And you just wonder, because generally a point at Ibrox is a great point, isn't it? But take your point, that if it is there, can you try and go and snatch all 3?
The form under Barry's been great since he's taken over. I just couldn't have seen him turning it round in quite a short space of time. I also
thought that Alan Burrows made a very clever PR move to announce that the manager was going to be a permanent appointment in the days leading up to Ibrox, because it takes away all uncertainty. You go there looking like the smart boys, with the 7 wins on the bounce, and here he is, right, we've seen enough, he's the manager. and today they're acquitting themselves reasonably well.
Yeah, maybe in this second half, Gordon, even further. We mentioned all the changes today, but maybe someone like Alex Lowry, who finds himself back on the bench after a while, maybe he gets a bit of game time again. These are things that the Rangers fans would probably all want to see.
Yeah, listen, young players coming through. Every time I've watched Lowry, I've been impressed with him. He's obviously doing enough to get on the bench. I like to see them getting their opportunity. Michael Beale will have a plan, he said, for these players in the coming weeks, in the coming games. But it'll be interesting to see if he does use them this afternoon.
It's almost time. 3 minutes added on at Tynecastle, and the away end is rocking because it knows what is about to happen. It has looked extremely likely all season long. So much style, so much conviction, so much efficiency in front of goal. But it's about to be finalised. Celtic edging ever closer, just minutes away from being named Scottish Premiership champions for the second season in a row. It is not far away at all.
Now they can touch it. 2 minutes to go, and the celebrations will be lavish, even though there are few supporters there, but they will be lavish, and they'll be led by Kyogo, and rightly so, because he has scored 30 goals in this campaign, 50 overall since he signed for Celtic, and a goal that was typical of Celtic to get them going in this match. They haven't had the best of days, but they have, as is Celtic's way, got the job done.
Kai Rolls will be booked, I think, when the referee pulls this one back, or when the ball goes out of play, I should say. But Haksabanovic still has it on the corner of the box. He's twisting and turning. There's step overs. He gives it to Greg Taylor, who slots Aaron Moy, and this might be a third, but it's pawed away by Xander Clark.
What is Xander Clark down there? I thought he could have just caught that.
You sound like him. You've been hanging around with him too much.
That's why you've got gloves. Just catch it. But I'll go back to Celtic. As much as they've not been at their best, they've scored 2 goals at Tynecastle, and it's a clean sheet from
Sakala's got the ball in the net, but it's offside. Sorry, Gordon, it's hard to juggle 2 games at once, as you were saying.
Yeah, it's positive in the fact that it's a new back four, and Hearts had a go early on at them. They protected Joe Hart, and they will be happy with a clean sheet as well.
Oh, it's great from Haksabanovic. He crosses it in. It was good footwork, but the cross finds a Hearts head. Have we had a Hearts shot on target actually in the game?
I think so. No, just wide from Rolls in the first half.
Sending off changes a lot, obviously, as Ralston just looks to whip one in. Hearts do stand up to that, and it would be the Celtic way to try and add a third here. I think they don't.
I mean, the game's done. We're 93 minutes and they're still pressing, trying to pick Hearts apart here instead of just keeping the ball. They could easily just pass it at the back, but no, not a style.
Joe Hart on his 100th appearance for Celtic will want.
And there we are, the full-time whistle has gone. Celtic are champions. Let's speak to Andrew McLean.
Hearts 0, Celtic 2, the full-time score, and as you say, Gordon, Celtic are champions. 34 played, 31 wins, 2 draws and just the 1 defeat in what has been a hugely impressive campaign for Ange Postecoglou's side so far. A record goals tally, they could still get a record points tally, a second successive title and the second part of a potential treble. The players out there on the pitch high-fiving, hugging each other. They've known for a good few weeks now that the title was going to be theirs. They would never have admitted it publicly, but they knew that this moment was going to come at some point, and it's come here at Tynecastle today. The Celtic fans in the away end, around 1,200 of them, are in party mode at the moment. I'm sure you can hear them singing away as the players congratulate each other on the pitch, onto the game. And Hearts actually started really quickly and caused problems. Kai Rolls went close with a volley from the edge of the box. That one bounced inches wide. Celtic struggled really early on to find their stride. There were a few slack passes, Hearts pressuring them into a few mistakes. But just before the break, a big moment in this match, Alex Cochrane, he tripped Dyson Maeda as he headed into the box. Initially a yellow card was given, but following a VAR check, Nick Walsh upgraded it to a red post for 1-0. They managed to get a second as well 10 minutes later. It was a similar goal from the other side. Aaron Moy it was this time, that was played in on the left. His ball across found O, and he finished well, and the party was well and truly on. The Celtic players just gathering in the middle of the half closest to the Celtic fans at the moment, and Callum McGregor is rallying the whole team. He's getting them to walk towards the Celtic fans, and it's a familiar sight as we see them going towards the supporters. They're waiting in anticipation, and you wonder who it'll be, because it's all the players. It's normally just Kyogo that's out in front, but this time it is a team effort, has been a team effort for the whole season for this Celtic side, and that's why they have been crowned the champions as usual. Ange Postecoglou, he's hanging in the background. He's maybe about 20 yards behind the whole team, who are jumping up and down and dancing in celebration with the Celtic supporters. Ange Postecoglou, calm as ever really, just standing, applauding, watching the scenes, taking it all in. But he will, you would imagine, he'll be next up. He'll go up and take the acclaim of these Celtic supporters who love him so much. But the full-time score here at Tynecastle is Hearts 0, Celtic 2, and Celtic are the Scottish Premiership champions again.
For the second season in a row, for the 11th in the last 12, the period of domestic dominance goes from strength to strength. Hugh Keevins.
I think today they have won the treble. Inverness Cali Thistle had a major setback Friday night, lost to Ayr United, did not make the championship playoffs, now face a month off, no football. Billy Dodds has said it's going to be difficult for him what to do with the players over that month, but I think, with respect, how on earth could anyone think that Inverness Cali Thistle would beat Celtic in the Scottish Cup final? So I think by winning at Tynecastle today and by winning the title, Celtic have won the treble, and Ange Postecoglou joins the pantheon of greats at Celtic. Jock Stein, Brendan Rodgers, Martin O'Neill, Neil Lennon, treble winners. And I think today, and I invite anyone to contradict me, I think today Celtic have won the treble.
Well, they've definitely won the league, so we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Mark Wilson, champions for the second season in a row. As I said right at the top of today's show, it was always a matter of when, not if, for the Celtic team. That's how good they've been this season. But to get it over the line, now that it's done, it's confirmed, how would you sum up your praise for this group?
Just exceptional individuals, but when you put them all together, an exceptional team. Players who are unselfish as well as creative and skillful, who work for each other, who work for their managers, and you can see the connect between them right now. We're watching it, the connect between them and the supporters is as strong as ever. I mean, to go through a league season the way they've done it, 1 defeat, 2 draws in there, and the rest victories, no one can get near them, and I mean, thoroughly deserved. Not their sparkling best today, but we've said that before this season. They still get the job done when it matters. Another big game, Kyogo stepping up again with another big goal, and just an exceptional Celtic team we're witnessing.
Yeah, first and foremost, congratulations to Celtic and everyone concerned for being champions again. I thought they've been excellent. I think Mark pinpoints a lot of the facts here of, you know, how many goals they've scored, lost 1 game, only drawn 2. Consistency's been everything. Style of football's been brilliant. They just know how to get the job done, and they'll certainly enjoy their night and their celebrations.
Any title win is satisfying. I'm sure, Mark Wilson, you have been there, but to do it with this swagger, with this level of domination, for it to have never been in doubt really at any point, to be looking at record-breaking points tallies and goals tallies, what does that say about what Ange Postecoglou's got here?
Well, he brought a style of football that we weren't used to seeing, and no one can live with it. But the players in question, they drive it forward. They know what's at stake, and I know Ange Postecoglou shoots this down all the time when people throw records at him and what it could really look like at the end of this season. But I think these players will be desperate to mark what has been an extraordinary league season with record points, record goals, 105 goals, 25 against. That's some going. To have that level of consistency throughout a season, and even when players drop out, like we saw today with Johnson and Carter Vickers, the quality that is waiting on the bench, ready to take the place, is equally as good and equally as impressive. So tremendous. You see him there, you're quietly satisfied, the look in the Celtic manager's face, and he won't stand still. He'll be thinking ahead to next season and then the challenges that face him on the European front next. That's the only box you can say that's still to be ticked for that manager.
Surely even he can enjoy his night first. Andrew McLean, what's going on over there? It sounds like the fans are enjoying it, and I'm sure the players are too.
Yeah, well, the name that's sort of ringing around that away section of Tynecastle at the moment is the name of Ange Postecoglou, and he's still standing at the back. He's got his hands in his pockets. He's waved towards the fans a few times, but he is just taking it all in. He's now applauding them as they come to the end of that song, and there's a fist pump there from Ange Postecoglou as well towards those supporters. But he's just standing back. He's letting the players take their acclaim. They've got t-shirts on as well that have been handed out. I can't quite see what they say from this angle. I'm sure you guys will have a better view from me on the TV screens, but they're all standing, posing, getting their photos. The photographers at the moment as well. I'm sure those photos will be ones that they cherish for a long time. The Japanese players are all huddled together at the moment getting their photos. I've seen that a good few times when Celtic have won trophies that they like to celebrate together, and Joe Hart was actually sort of conducting things at the start because the photographers were kind of in the way, in between the fans and the Celtic players. He'd asked them to move out the way and then actually positioned them so that the Celtic players could stand and get their photos taken with the fans in the background, and that just shows the connection that we talk about so much that this Celtic team have with the supporters. They love Ange Postecoglou, they love this team that he's assembled as well, and he is now the man that is front and centre. He's walked up towards the supporters that are singing his name. He's having a bit of a wave there as well, and now he's walking away. He's had enough. He is quite a low-key character, Ange Postecoglou. He does like to go round after matches by himself and just appreciate the supporters and the love they give him, and he's now looking towards his staff, and I think he's going to call them over as well, because they're all kind of huddled in the dugout area and just chatting to each other and maybe talking about the season that it's been, reflecting. And I can actually see one of the t-shirts that one of the staff members is holding up, and it says back-to-back champions. It's a second successive title for Celtic, and as I say, that is Ange Postecoglou now calling the rest of his staff over to get the acclaim, because of course it's not just the players on the pitch, it's not just the manager Ange Postecoglou, but it's all the staff involved as well. A big operation goes into winning any trophy, especially a league title that's decided over 38 games, and now every single member of that Celtic team, Celtic staff, will go over and spend some time with the Celtic supporters, and you'd imagine that there will be Celtic fans all over the country celebrating. Many, I'm sure, will be heading to Celtic Park. That tends to happen. Wait for the players and the staff to arrive back on the team bus from Tynecastle so that they can all celebrate together. And I think these supporters and the ones, as I say, around Scotland and the players will be in for a big night tonight.
Well, what did you make of that? You can get your calls in 01419511025. It's a bit of a strange schedule for us on a Sunday, but we're here. We'll get to your calls. I'm sure we're here until 6 o'clock, so why not phone in and express your delight? We've still got a game on at Ibrox right now where it's Rangers 0, Aberdeen 0. Hugh, you've seen many Celtic managers come and go, very many.
Yep.
I just wonder how you feel witnessing this connection that the current manager has with the fans.
I have rarely seen anything like it. When Brendan Rodgers came to become the manager, there were 10,000 people in the stadium just to see him put a Celtic scarf above his head. Brendan Rodgers, unfortunately and I think unfairly, left with a stain on his reputation because he did go to Leicester mid-season. This guy, Postecoglou, is an icon.
We've got one of these.
Goal flashes with Clyde Built Home Improvements.
Rangers 1, Aberdeen 0. It's a lovely finish from Todd Cantwell. He volleys in from a corner. Rangers knew today was not about trying to do anything in a title race, but just about looking to the future, making some changes, and of course trying to pick up some 3 points along the way. They're on their way to doing that. Todd Cantwell would be one of the relative success stories from the second half of the season, I guess, Gordon, you would have to say. But when you see the contrasting scenes, you see a team that's done its job and another that maybe went through Todd Cantwell, etc. They're looking to the future.
Yeah, he's part of the rebuilding, brought in January with Raskin. I think Rangers fans have been pleased with the contribution of both, and that's what they'll be looking for in the summer with Michael Beale, trying to get players of that quality. And you've got to say it's a lovely goal.
I see it in two stages here, Gordon. I see what Rangers are trying to do is to rebuild for domestic football. Celtic have had 2 titles back to back, as their t-shirts say. Celtic now have to be looking, I think, at European football next season and see just how far Ange Postecoglou can take them in that arena, because It hasn't been great in neither of the seasons that Ange has been there. They are the dominant force in Scottish football. They have to see what impression they can make on the European arena.
It's hard to not notice the contrasting feelings around Mark. That's the type of goal from Todd Cantwell. Under different circumstances, you're going off your head in celebration if you're a Rangers fan. It's that good a goal.
Yeah, terrific strike.
Everything just feels about what's happening at Tynecastle today.
It's subdued. The Rangers fans will know that Celtic got the job done, and it was a terrific goal from Cantwell. But over at Tynecastle, that's where it really matters, and the Celtic players still out there taking a pause from the fans, and they deserve it.
So Rangers 1 up then. They've made 4 changes at once. Arfield and Wright, Morelos, Kamara all on, Hadji, Raskin, Matondo, Sakala off, going to a back 3 with Lundstrom at centre back, so trying something new there. And Andrew McLean, are those players still on the pitch? He'll be going down to get the thoughts of Ange Postecoglou very soon, but I don't think they're in any hurry.
No, I don't think they're in any hurry at all, and I don't think these supporters are either, because they are the lucky ones. They are the ones that have managed to get a ticket to witness this, and they're spending that time with the players who are still looking up. The fans have actually been sort of one by one going through the songbook that they've got for each of the players. It was especially funny seeing Aaron Moy as well, who I'm sure if you've ever seen Aaron Moy being interviewed, he's a very, very quiet character, Aaron Moy, but they were singing Aaron Moy's name, and he even went up and did a bit of a dance as well. I think he was maybe forced into it by his teammates, but one by one the players are stepping forward and taking the acclaim of the Celtic supporters. Ange Postecoglou just doing some on the pitch media duties at the moment, giving his immediate thoughts with the Celtic fans in the background. But yeah, I think these Celtic fans would happily stay here for the rest of the night and celebrate with the Celtic players, but they will be making their way down the tunnel shortly. I think it will be shortly, you never know, they might stay out for a while, but then they'll head back along the M8, and once they're there I think they will be greeted by a huge crowd at Celtic Park as well. So the celebration's only just beginning, and they will go on for a long, long time, because there is still the final piece of the jigsaw to come, that Scottish Cup final against Inverness at the end of the season. At the start of next month they'll want to complete the treble. The job is not done yet. The job in terms of the league is done, but there's still one trophy that these supporters and these players and Ange Postecoglou want.
Yes, it's finished Hearts 0, Celtic 2, and that means Celtic are champions again. The Celtic fans are getting used to this success, but they enjoy it like it's their first. Rangers lead by 1-0 against Aberdeen at Pittodrie, and we'll get back for more reaction from Tynecastle next.
Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast with Lookers Jaguar. If you're selling, they're buying. Get an accurate valuation on your Jaguar. Contact Lookers today. Clyde One Super Scoreboard Podcast with Lookers Jaguar. Approved used Jaguar I-Pace now available with up to £3,800 deposit contribution, plus a complimentary smart home charger, 2 years approved used warranty and more, worth £1,500. The winning team all season long. This is Clyde One Super Scoreboard.
Celtic are champions. A 2-0 win at Tynecastle gets the inevitable over the line at the earliest opportunity. It wasn't a vintage game. Hearts went down to 10 men early on. Celtic found their way in the second half, but in truth none of that really matters. The headline says it all. Celtic are champions. So let's bear in mind you've got options. You can tweet us, of course. We'd rather speak to you on the phones. 0141 951 1025. That's the number you need, so come on. We always try and get your say, win, lose or draw, but this is a really important one. You've won the title, Celtic fans, so what do you make of it? 0141 951 1025. How do you sum it up? How happy are you? Who's deserving of your praise? What were the big moments? What did you make of today's game? If you can't revel in moments like this, you're wasted on this game. 0141 951 1025.
There have been stunning performances along the way. In September there was the 4-0 win over Rangers at Celtic Park. There was the 9-0 win over Dundee United at Tannadice. Celtic have just been terrific watch. Today they fell beneath their own exceptionally high standards, but on the basis that they never stop, they didn't stop, and they got the job done in the end. And Ange Postecoglou, to fully answer your earlier question, Gordon, I don't think there's been anyone since Jock Stein who has had this kind of grip on the supporters' emotions. He inherited a wreck and he turned it into something formidable and special. And the rapport between him and the Celtic fans is of a very high order. He is Celtic. Quite simply, he is Celtic for the supporters, and to have achieved that kind of status within 2 seasons is remarkable.
I think one of the most impressive things about this side and the Celtic manager is the product that's on show, because two separate things. Being a total winning machine is one thing, but doing it in an entertaining fashion that people actually want to go along and watch every week. Now, I played against the Martin O'Neill sides, and you know, I saw that firsthand. Very good, very effective, brilliant players, but it wasn't always sparkling football a lot of the time. This team has got a way of entertaining, and I think that's what the fans admire most about it. They get both jobs done, winning and entertaining. Now, the obvious today, it wasn't like that, but more often than not, it's free flowing football that's kind of invented a new way of playing here in Scotland that we hadn't seen, and he's found the players to fit into that system.
Yeah, he's in a brilliant place as a Celtic manager. Obviously you're judged on results, performances, but the biggest one for me, and I've said it from day one, which impressed me as a manager, is his transfer markets. He's been absolutely brilliant. Went out into a market that nobody thought of. Obviously he'd worked over there, brought in players that just influenced everything that he wanted them to do, and he's reaped the benefits, and he'll certainly enjoy his night tonight.
And that would be probably the main thing from outside, Gordon, as well, would be what Mark says about the style. Look, it's no good for rival fans. If you're on the receiving end of it, or if you're a big rival of Celtic as a club, you're not going to enjoy it. But to everybody else, I think if you're being honest about yourself, you watch the way that Celtic go about it, because you know they've got better players, you know they've got more money, you know they're going to win more often than they don't, because that's always been the case, certainly recently. But they don't always do it in the style that this team does it in.
Yeah, you know, you can look at Celtic even like today, and okay, you can argue going down to 10 men, Hearts and whatever, but we've seen it in the past where they're not their sparkling best, and that's because of the sort of standards that they set. But they just, whether it's through substitutions, which I said earlier today, I'm so impressed with when he puts substitutions on, and that's your job as a manager, the timing of it, how to do it, when to do it, who you're going to put on, how to tweak one or two things. He gets it right probably 9 times out of 10, and once again today we've seen that evidence at Tynecastle. They deserve everything they get. They've been absolutely brilliant, and they'll look forward to the Scottish Cup, hopefully for Celtic to go and get a treble. But Inverness may have something to say about that. I don't think we hold out a lot of hope, but it's a cup fight.
I think even today, you know, not the sparkling best, we keep saying that, but the goals are still quality. You know, you very rarely see the team not at their sparkling best and they get like a deflected goal against a run of play. Even within games that they don't play particularly well, there are moments that are by design, like we keep saying, and both goals today is a perfect example of what this team works in. It works on day in, day out, and they get the rewards at the end of the day.
Celtic fans, you've got that winning feeling again, so why not pick up the phone and let us know just how it feels. 01419511025. We'll speak to you next. And now a word from our podcast sponsor, Lookers Motor Group. They've got Jaguar, Land Rover and Volvo showrooms across Glasgow and the West, so you can find the new or used approved car that's right for you. The Land Rover showrooms can be found in Motherwell, Darnley and the north of Glasgow, with their Jaguar and Volvo showroom found in Hillington. And right now at lookers.co.uk you can browse and shop 24/7, value your part exchange, order and take delivery from the comfort of your own home. Every approved used Jaguar, Land Rover or Volvo comes with a minimum of 12 months warranty, roadside assistance, MOT test warranty, an independent mileage and service history check, software updates and lots more. Check out lookers.co.uk to get your new or used approved Land Rover, Jaguar or Volvo today. Now back to the podcast.
When it comes to helping those that really need it, actions speak louder than words. So here's what we've been doing at British Gas. Over the past year, we've given £50 million in energy debt support, including grants to help with bills, And we're keeping homes powered with emergency energy credit. That's enough talking. Let's get on with the doing. British Gas. Eligibility criteria apply.
After the action, it's your reaction. 0141 951 1025. Clyde One Super Scoreboards Open Line.
We take your thoughts on the games all season long, but it's only once a season we get to do this, where we look back on the day that the Premiership title was won. It's a fairly familiar feeling for you Celtic fans. You've won it again. How does this one compare to the others? What have you liked most about it? How would you sum up your feelings? What were the key moments along the way? Who deserves special praise? All of the usual questions, and you can answer them right here. 0141 951 1025. 10 minutes to go at Ibrox. Still Rangers 1, Aberdeen 0. So Michael Beale on track for another 3 points. But let's get more reaction from Tynecastle, or reaction to events at Tynecastle, I should say, with Martin, who's in Clydebank. How does it feel to be champions again, Martin?
Oh, it's brilliant, what a feeling. And I think there's a few players in particular that they need singled out. I think especially throughout this season, through the spine of the team, it's got to be Carter Vickers, McGregor, Hattati and Kyogo. I think for the whole season, to put out the levels of performances that they've put out, it's been fantastic. Obviously Kyogo spearheading the attack all year. His numbers have just been phenomenal. But I think the most important person is Ange Postecoglou. I think if you look at what he's done in the last 2 years, the size of the rebuild that he had just over 2 years ago, we're losing Edouard, Ayer, Christie. The team was a mess. To put all the players together and to win, obviously if we win the cup final as well, that'll be 5 trophies out of 6. I think nothing short of spectacular, and surely he's got to go down as one of the all-time great managers for Celtic.
It's the trajectory of it, Hugh, because obviously he didn't inherit that mess, was never going to get it right in the first week, and they just had to wait a little bit of patience. Then they overtook Rangers, then there was no looking back, and then that actually carried on to this season. They started off on the front foot this season and won it from the front.
First 6 league games, 3 wins, 3 defeats. Next 32 league games of his first season, no defeats at all. This runs into this season 1 defeat. That's all. The man has been phenomenal for Celtic. So phenomenal that I think some people believe that Michael Beale can never be successful with Rangers until Ange Postecoglou leaves Glasgow. And that may carry a lot of weight, that argument. He's going to Japan and Korea in the summertime on a tour, and he's promising to go into the Asian market once again. Now his goals today, one scored by a Japanese, one scored by a South Korean. So he's going to go into that market again, and then comes Europe. And I think Ange Postecoglou, although in the eyes of Martin and many Celtic supporters is already an iconic figure, his legend would be even greater if he were to do something in the Champions League.
Martin, why is this one so special? You Celtic fans have been spoiled with success in recent years, so you enjoy them all. What's so good about this one? Why have you enjoyed this one so much?
So I think obviously, just to do it last year, obviously stopped Rangers winning 2 in a row, whatever they were going for, right? I think to do it again just made it all the more special, and I think the style that we've done it in, it's been phenomenal. It's the first one game, and I think at times we've just blew the whole league away. Like even when we've not played so great, we've still been winning with 2-3 goals. And I think one game in particular for me which epitomised our season is we played Dundee United at home a few months ago, 2 each after 87 minutes. We ended up winning the game 4-2, and I think that just epitomises our whole season, and the style we've done it in has been spectacular.
Yeah, that's a fair point, Mark. If you say in August Celtic will win the league, that's not a huge surprise. It's not this outlandish claim. It's not going to raise too many eyebrows, but you need to then carry it out in a particular fashion to get the type of reaction that Martin's giving and the other Celtic fans. It's 105 goals and we're not done yet. It's the most simple, purest form of joy you get from going to a football game. You want to see the ball hit the back of the net, and the Celtic fans have seen it 105 times already this season.
Yeah, and Martin's right to single those players out within that, and he's right to single out the manager, because I remember when Ange Postecoglou came in, one of the first things he says was he wants to play a style of football that gets bums off seats. Now you cannot say he hasn't done that in every respect, and even with the failures in the Champions League, he still took credit from that for the way he faced or shaped up his team against some of the big hitters, and he walked away with some praise even though they took some heavy beatings. But domestically, the way, you know, come up with answers to so many different shapes, different systems, different presses they've come up against is hugely impressive. And I'll go back to again Martin O'Neill's sides and you know, Gordon Strachan's side when I was at Dundee United. They had a certain way of playing and they kind of stuck to it. I think the Celtic team are so adaptable, and the 5 substitutions obviously helps this team as well, because those guys coming off the bench possess the quality to take it up a notch when they have been struggling.
So stylistically, you've been a fan and a player and then a pundit / fan. Is this the best style you've seen? Is it the most enjoyable?
Yeah, I would say so, and I've thought about that over recent weeks. Brendan Rodgers' style was eye-catching when he came in because it was all possession-based, but watching it became a bit boring sometimes. Sometimes it was passing for the sake of passing. This has got an end product. This has got players who can, you know, take people on 1v1, who run in behind, technically gifted players, and they've got players like Alistair Johnson who will just get the job done, and Greg Taylor. So such a mix, but for me, yeah, probably the most impressive I've seen a Celtic side. And it's an interesting list Martin picks out, Gordon, of players that deserve praise. He went for the spine. He went Carter Vickers, Hatate, McGregor, Kyogo. 3 of them Ange Postecoglou signed so effectively, and then he arguably has taken the other one, Callum McGregor, onto even another level from what he was already at.
Yeah, it's the old school saying that if you get into a side and you're rebuilding, get the spine of the team right. Well, you can't argue with that. You know, you can throw Joe Hart into that mix with the experience that he's got. As much as we talk about how good and, you know, we enjoy the flair of Celtic scoring 105 goals, they've lost 25 goals in 34 league games, which shows you they obviously can defend as well, and they've gotten both important players in good positions. I just think that, you know, when you see players leaving Celtic, I think it's very hard for a manager to go and replace them with better quality. That's where you get your job. That's where you get your big money. Juranovic, I thought, was one of the best right backs had played for Celtic in a long, long time. And when he left, he goes and gets Alistair Johnson. Nobody talks about Juranovic. You're looking, you know, Giacomakis up front, and I thought he was terrific for Celtic. This young boy, seems to be the real deal when he comes on, gets a goal as well. A lot to learn first season. He's just been absolutely terrific as a Celtic manager. You've got to give him all the credit in the world.
What's the connection like between this manager and the fans out there, Martin?
I think he's just, I don't know what it is. I think it's the way maybe he just handles himself in press conferences, the way that he's got the team playing. He's always tries to involve the fans, especially when they play. Like the trophy day last season, the speech that he gave, it was great. And I think the fans just get him. We just understand him, and obviously the way he's getting the team playing is just, I can't remember a Celtic team playing like this. I mean, we talk about Brendan Rodgers' team, but obviously Rangers weren't as great as I'm not saying they're great, but they weren't as good as the side that they are now. I think Ange to do it when the Rangers are competing against us like almost every game, I think it's just it's just phenomenal.
Phenomenal, says Martin from Clydebank. How would you sum it up out there, Celtic fans? 01419511025. Thank you to Martin. Andrew McLean will be down there in the depths of Tynecastle Park somewhere, trying to grab a word with Ange Postecoglou, but I suspect the party mode will be going on. What's it like, Mark Wilson, when after a long hard season you and the guys that you've gone into battle with every week are just in that privacy of the changing room and enjoying your moment?
Relief probably is overriding emotion, I think, because even though these Celtic players knew, you know, the job was done more or less, just getting over the line makes a huge difference. So a big weight off their shoulders because of the standards they've set. They carry that burden with them to try and perform the same way in every game. But it's these moments are kind of moments to reflect in the dressing room. You know, think back in some of the close shaves of the season, some of your biggest highlights of the season, and just knowing that you've got that medal around your neck or going to be presented at in a couple of weeks' time is you can't really beat that feeling. Doing it over the course of 38 games is what your bread and butter is. You know, people will moan about European football or European progression, or if they get put out a cup, but the league is the one at the start of every season You know, when you're at Celtic, that's your goal, and to get it over the line, great days, great to be involved in.
I suppose the spread of contribution, Hugh, means that it should be a very happy dressing room in there. You just run through. I mean, Leila Bada would probably be considered bit part due to selection and then injury latterly. Leila Bada's got 10 of those league goals. James Forrest's got 4 of them. Giacomakis got 6 before he left. Haksabanovic has 5. David Turnbull, you don't really see anymore, has got 4 goals in the league, same as Aaron Moy. You know, just the spread of contributors to this.
There's also an unsung hero who's not been mentioned yet. Another player who has been made so much better by Ange Postecoglou, and that's Greg Taylor. You know, the first class fullback now. And Ange Postecoglou is responsible for all of this. Whether he improved players who were already there or brought in players from the Asian market. And don't forget Matt O'Reilly, who came from the MK Dons, who are relegated today. And all of this is down to Postecoglou. And he has become such an important figure now in the eyes of the Celtic fans. And the good thing for the Celtic fans, I think, is that he shows a deep affection for the club. It might not last forever, but right now I think he's intent on going to Japan and South Korea in the close season, coming back and looking to the Champions League to see what Celtic can do. And he has said himself that trying to combine the Champions League with winning your domestic league at the group stage is tough going, but that's the task, that's the size of the club, and that's what he has to do.
I think some other unsung heroes would never mention is his backroom team as well, who by all accounts take a lot of the training day in day out. John Kennedy, Gavin Strachan, 2 that came in for huge criticism.
Yeah, you don't hear Laptop Boy getting mentioned on this show too often.
Not that often. I mean, how many calls
like you used to in the past?
Yeah. So they must take huge credit. Harry Kewell was added to that as well, wasn't he? So they take huge credit because they'll be the sounding board for the manager. It isn't all just Ange Postecoglou. They take a huge deal, or a great deal of training and tactical work that maybe fans don't often appreciate. They just see the manager out front. So congratulations to those 3 or 4 as well.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it's a team effort from the backroom staff, the manager, everyone concerned. Everything's got to work right to be successful, and obviously Ange Postecoglou's got every department working in the same way, Gordon. As I say, you can look on at the spiny team, you can look on at certain players. They've won it as a team, and I'm talking about from the manager to the backroom staff, to all the players, to the physios, to the kit men, everybody concerned at Celtic Park. They're a team, they're close knit, they get on great relationship with their supporters, they're enjoying it, and they deserve to celebrate because they've been excellent this season.
Thought you were going to go for the bus driver.
Forgot, sorry, I cannot. I was.
You started down a road there. I was saying, where's this stop?
It's like, who opens up, who locks up?
Security guys,
the green staff.
Stevie Woods, the goalkeeping
Stevie
coach.
Woods, yeah. Oh, Ian Jameson gets me tickets. So they're all
You're
there.
the only one.
And it's funny, Mark, when you look back, we can probably do this at length as the week goes on, but you know, Celtic have been swashbuckling at times. You look at the 105 goals, but there have been moments, you know, where Giacomakis has to pop up late in Perth, and Greg Taylor of all people gets the winner at Tynecastle in that 4-3 game. And then the one where Jim Goodwin parks 11 buses at Pittodrie, and it's the captain, Callum McGregor. I think he's only got 3 league goals. That one was extraordinarily important. 87 minutes on the clock when he struck. So it feels like it's just been such a balance between destroying teams and then, like, inevitably getting the job done when you have to.
Yeah, and reliable players asked to do a job and can carry it out in a number of ways.
It's full time at Ibrox, Gabriel.
Yes, it is, Gordon, and it finished 1-0 to Rangers. Todd Cantwell's volley just after the hour mark, enough to secure all 3 points. But of course, it is in vain today, with Celtic crowned Kings of Scotland in Edinburgh just 1 hour ago. Now, Rangers had all of the ball early on, but the Dons started to grow into the game. Duke and Bojan Miovski were a threat all day on the counter-attack. Duke causing a lot of problems to Connor Goldson. He missed 2 big chances in the first 45. The first was saved by Robbie McCrory's legs. The second was an even better chance when he broke through essentially a one-on-one from over the halfway line. It was bearing down on goal, but decided to dink it from 25 yards. It went straight over the bar. At the other end, Fashion Sakala had 3 great chances in the last 5 minutes. The best one was after a lovely flick through from Rabi Matondo, and he just smashed it at the keeper. A little bit more composure and he could have found the bottom corner. So it was goalless at the interval. The Gers nearly went ahead at the start of the second half after Johnny Hayes accidentally smashed his own bar from 5 yards as he stopped Sakala tapping it in after good work from Matondo on the left. And then in the 64th minute, it was Todd Cantwell who scored a lovely volley. It was back across the goal after a deep corner. He was bright again today and will be so key to this club going forwards. After that, Michael Beale made several changes. He tried a different shape, 3 at the back, and Scott Wright came on. He was very bright. He flashed over after a good run and then smashed the ball across after good work on the left. Johnny Hayes nearly turned it in his net again. It did have a bit of the end of the season feel to it. The Dons will still fancy themselves for 3rd place. Rangers fans will have seen some flashes of promise going into next season. As I said, they have got the 3 points, but it's not a day that many Rangers fans will want to remember. Full time here at Ibrox, Rangers 1, Aberdeen 0.
What's the reaction like from an Ibrox crowd when a victory like that is sealed, Gabriel, today?
Well, Gordon, as I speak to you now, there is hardly anyone left in the stadium. Obviously, the fans just to my left of me, the hardcore with the drums, you can still hear them, but most of the crowd did leave before the end of the match. Todd Cantwell just walking off in front of me and getting applauded by those still in here, but it just has that end of season feeling. Most fans here thinking, okay, it is what it is. Celtic are they've run away with the league title. They could secure a treble shortly. Let's go again next season. I wouldn't say that there's been any turning against Michael Beale at all. Far from that. They'll be behind them here next week when they play Celtic. I think Rangers fans just want the season to be over and go again next campaign.
It's over at Ibrox, and the season in terms of the title race is over as well. For many it's been over for a long time, but Celtic got the official status today, champions again. And now it's over to you to let us know how you're feeling this afternoon. 0141 951 1025. Celtic fans, you don't need me to ask any pointed questions. It's just quite simply, what did you make of that as a season? And for Rangers fans, you're going to have to go again. Maybe you want to share your thoughts on who you saw today. Did any of those fringe players take a chance? Are you going to keep Robbie McCrory in for the next couple of games? Would you bother bringing Morelos or Kent back in from the start? All the usual stuff after the week following the disappointment of last weekend's match. But the open line is here, 0141 951 1025.